I have a zombie assistance system. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 51 Strange Characteristics. After thinking for a while, he took the dark skirt and said, "Forget it, let's upgrade it again to see if it can get better features." Wang Qiushui was stunned for a moment and asked, "Can you upgrade it further?" He nodded. Wang Qiushui asked again, "Then why don't you upgrade your bone chopping knife?" "I have this dark skirt, which is enough for me." He shook his head. "This dark skirt can only block the attack of level 1 zombies. It's hard to say if I encounter zombies above level 1. Upgrading it more can always provide more protection. As for my bone chopping knife, I have almost no chance to use it now, so it's a waste, even if I have magic weapon." Wang Qiushui had no choice but to nod. "Okay, but don't worry, I will definitely protect you." He was stunned for a moment and smiled. "Why do I feel like a gigolo who lives off me and can only hide behind you?" Wang Qiushui also laughed. "So I doubt whether you did it on purpose, upgrading the best defensive equipment for me and letting me take the most poisonous blow." He smiled and then said, "System, upgrade the dark skirt." System, ding, upgrade completed. It seems that after the first upgrade, the name of the equipment has been determined, and it will not be changed later. This time, the purple pattern on the dark skirt is more obvious, but overall there is not much change. It is still so noble and profound. Wang Qiushui asked uncertainly, "Is it upgraded already?" He nodded. "Wait a minute, I'll take a look first." Wang Qiushui stood aside and waited. He checked the properties of the dark dress again and found that the description was basically the same, except that it could now block the attacks of zombies of level 2 and below, and had an additional feature called mosaic. He couldn't help but touch his chin. Is this mosaic what he wanted? Looking at Wang Qiushui's inquiring eyes, he directly clicked on the feature and saw that it said, "As long as you wear it, you can mosaic any part of your body so that others can't see your true face." He almost choked to death on his own saliva. What kind of crappy feature is this? Is this dress poisonous? Wang Qiushui looked at his strange behavior and couldn't help asking, "Is there a problem with the upgrade?" He said awkwardly, "No, there is a new feature." Wang Qiushui smiled and said, "That's it. What is the new feature about? Is it more powerful?" Then, he mentioned the feature called mosaic. Suddenly, Wang Qiushui's expression was so wonderful. After a while, she looked at him suspiciously. "Were you thinking about something inappropriate for children when you upgraded just now, so you came up with such a feature?" He waved his hands repeatedly. "I'm innocent." After thinking for a while, he asked again, "System, can this mosaic change to other features?" The system refused. "No." He then asked, "Does this mosaic have color? Can it be controlled manually?" The system thought for a while. "Yes." He quickly said to Wang Qiushui, "I have thought of a solution. This mosaic can have color and can be used anywhere. In other words, you can use it as PS. It is absolutely a perfect disguise, but it may take some effort." Wang Qiushui took the skirt suspiciously. "Are you serious?" He quickly said, "You will know if you try it. If it doesn't work, then you can only blur your whole body. In this way, no one can see what you look like, and you can avoid being recognized again." Wang Qiushui nodded and took the dark skirt to the bathroom. After a long time, a plain-looking girl wearing a plain long skirt came out. He was stunned for a moment. "Who are you?" Wang Qiushui's voice came out. "Don't you recognize me?" He shook his head. "I can't recognize you at all. How did you do it?" Wang Qiushui replied, "After I put on this dark dress, my entire image appeared in front of me, and there were mosaics of various colors to choose from next to it. I modified it little by little, and finally it became like this. How about it? Don't you recognize me?" He nodded and handed over the hammer of the earth. "By the way, change this iconic weapon as well." Wang Qiushui took the hammer of the earth, and within 2 minutes, the hammer in her hand changed completely, becoming the same as an ordinary hammer, but the size remained the same. He couldn't help but applaud. "It's really amazing. By the way, you spent a long time just now. How come it's so fast this time?" Wang Qiushui said proudly. Practice makes perfect, and this mosaic has a batch copy function, so it's naturally faster. He asked again, by the way, is there a save function for this, or do I have to modify it every time? Wang Qiushui nodded. This can be saved directly, but if you want to create a new one, you have to delete this one. This is a pity, otherwise, I can change different clothes every day. He breathed a sigh of relief. That's good. If I have to change it every time, it would be too troublesome. Wang Qiushui sighed. It's a pity. I still think the original look is better. The current skirt is too clean. It can't compare at all. It feels like walking in the night in brocade clothes. He smiled. When there is no one else, you can fight in your original look. However, this skirt only changes the appearance. It can't change the sound. So you can't make a sound in the future when fighting. Otherwise you will still be recognized. Wang Qiushui nodded and then asked, by the way, do you want to try it? He waved his hands repeatedly. Forget it. I'm not a fan of women's clothing. Wang Qiushui smiled. After you put it on, you can disguise yourself as something else. Then no one will know that you are wearing a skirt. He refused directly. No, that won't work. Others can't see it, but I know it in my heart. Anyway, I won't wear it. Wang Qiushui said disappointedly. Okay then. But the next second, she changed back to her original appearance. He was stunned for a moment. It's so beautiful. The hammer of the earth was held in her hand, and it didn't feel out of place at all, but rather had a kind of weird beauty. Moreover, the pattern of the hammer of the earth matched the faint pattern of the dark skirt very well. Wang Qiushui blushed. Really? He nodded stupidly. Wang Qiushui turned around in place. Now, he was stunned. It's so beautiful. Chapter 50 to the disappearing cockroach. Next, Wang Qiushui played dress up on the side while he started exercising again after resting enough. The rain outside never stopped. That day, they didn't go out, and the buckets and basins outside were already full of water. However, they were not in a hurry to go out and get them back, so they left them outside first. The next morning, the rain finally stopped. The two got up early and went downstairs to carry water. They had observed upstairs beforehand and didn't see any zombies outside the building, so they could move it with confidence. Moreover, Wang Qiushui was wearing a dark skirt, so she was not afraid, even if she was attacked. He directly picked up a bucket of water and then said to Wang Qiushui, be careful when you lift it, don't splash it out, and we don't know if this water is harmful. Wang Qiushui nodded and carefully picked up a bucket. Then, the two went upstairs and came to an empty room on the second floor. Everything here was cleared out, and it was specially used to store water. The rooms next to it were also used in this way, otherwise there would not be enough space for so many buckets and basins. After putting the water down, he took a plastic bag and directly wrapped the bucket. Wang Qiushui asked curiously, what are you doing? He covered another bucket and explained, this will prevent cockroaches and other insects from falling into the water and drowning. You don't want to drink water with additives, do you? Wang Qiushui suddenly felt a chill. Don't say it, it's so disgusting. But it seems that I haven't seen cockroaches and other insects since the apocalypse. He paused. Really? Wang Qiushui nodded. Yes, I remember there were a lot of cockroaches in the past. Their corpses could be seen on the stairs from time to time, so I bought a lot of cockroach medicine. Now that I think about it, I haven't seen them for a long time. He thought about it, and it was true. If there were only no cockroaches in their room, it would be understandable. However, they cleaned so many rooms, but didn't see even a shadow of a cockroach, which was a bit unusual. Especially, this is a suburb, and it is not a high-end community, so the hygiene is naturally not very good. Naturally, cockroaches are indispensable. After all, cockroaches are famous for their strong vitality, and they like to hide in dirty and smelly places until they come out to look for food at night. He even saw dead cockroaches everywhere. It was said that they ran out because the manhole cover was opened. He thought for a while they must have sensed danger and ran to other places. Perhaps this doomsday is not only a disaster for humans, but also for all other creatures. Wang Qiushui nodded. That should be the case. After finishing, the two of them went to carry water again. However, he kept frowning, thinking about the cockroaches. because he always felt that the cockroach matter might not be so simple. He thought for a while and asked directly, "System, you said last time that after zombies eat the corpses of high-level zombies, they may gain the abilities of the other party. Does this apply to other creatures?" System, originally, this question should be left for the host to explore and discover, but it is rare that the host has raised such a good question, so I will make an exception and answer it. The answer is applicable. He immediately took a breath of cold air, which was a big trouble. He quickly asked again, "Do they have to eat the whole corpse or just part of it?" The system did not answer again. Wang Qiushui felt something was wrong with him and asked, "What's wrong?" He turned around and smiled. "Nothing, I just bumped into it by accident." Wang Qiushui replied, "It's okay, be careful, I saw you were distracted just now." He nodded, "I'll pay attention." Then he continued to walk forward with the water. At the same time, he was thinking about the previous question. Since the system said that it also applies to animals, it means that as long as animals eat part or all of the corpses of zombies, they may gain the abilities of zombies. He has been mentally prepared for this. After all, mutant beasts such as cats and dogs have appeared in movies and novels. Moreover, large mammals such as cats and dogs are carnivores. In the end times, it is also possible to eat the corpses of zombies. However, if they gain the abilities of zombies, they will definitely be more difficult to deal with. In addition, there may be some scavenging birds. However, in modern cities, the living space for birds is not large. Therefore, even if there are such birds, there will not be many, and the chance of bumping into them is not great. On the contrary, what he is more worried about now are carnivorous insects such as cockroaches. There are not many meat-eating insects, but the most common in big cities is definitely cockroaches. Many people think that cockroaches are omnivores that eat kitchen waste, but many people don't know that cockroaches will also eat people when they have nothing to eat. Of course, it doesn't mean that they eat people directly, but that they will eat the hair and dandruff that people drop on the ground. Therefore, in the end of the world, when food is not sufficient, cockroaches are likely to eat zombie corpses. The problem now is that he doesn't know how many corpses the cockroaches have to eat to gain the ability of zombies. If they have to eat a whole corpse, then he will be relieved, but if not, then it will be a big trouble. That means that he is likely to face an unknown number of cockroaches with zombie abilities. Because cockroaches live in groups, even if you only see one cockroach at ordinary times, it means that there are countless cockroaches hiding in the dark. In addition, cockroaches have a super strong reproductive ability, and a female cockroach can lay 180 eggs. If it is a zombie-like female cockroach, and then lays eggs, it will really be a nightmare. Similarly, there are rats, but the reproductive capacity of rats is far inferior to that of cockroaches, and there are not as many as cockroaches. And due to the limitation of their size, they can't be as omnipresent as cockroaches. He shook his head and stopped thinking about it. Anyway, he didn't see the zombie cockroaches appearing now, so everything was just his guess. It is also possible that the cockroaches really fled to other places, just like the collective escape of animals before the earthquake. They have the instinct to seek good and avoid evil. It is even possible that the cockroaches will be directly extinct when the doomsday comes. He exhaled and tried to carry water. This is the most important thing at the moment. While the two were carrying water, no one showed up from the apartment building, and no one scolded them. After the rain, it seemed a bit lonely. Chapter 53 Water Purification. Soon, Wang Qiushui also noticed this. "Why is it a little quiet today? I'm not used to it." He nodded. No one in the apartment building next door came out, so it's naturally quiet. Wang Qiushui's face changed. "Are they?" He sighed. "Either they are full of water and are resting now, too lazy to get up, or there is something wrong with the water, and they are done." Wang Qiushui's hand loosened, and the bucket fell directly. Seeing that the water was about to be overturned, he caught the bucket with quick eyes and hands to prevent the water from pouring out. "Be careful, it doesn't matter if there is one less bucket of water. If there is something wrong with this water, it will hurt you instead." She quickly took the bucket. "I will pay attention. By the way, since this water has a problem, why do we have to work so hard to move it back?" He thought for a while. It's just that there may be a problem, and it's also good to reserve a little more. Maybe we can find a water purifier later? He couldn't say that he had a system that could purify the water at any time. Speaking of which, I have to talk to the system about this later. Wang Qiushui nodded. That's true. Maybe one day we won't have a drop of water. When we are thirsty, we will have to drink the water, even if we know it is poisonous, just like them. He patted Wang Qiushui's head. Don't think too much, just survive first. Even if they really die of poisoning, it is better than dying in my hands. At least there is not much pain. Wang Qiushui looked up at him. Then let's continue to move the water. He smiled and started moving the water again. The two of them moved all morning to move all the water and sealed it all to ensure that no insects and dust would enter and pollute the water. And this water took up 3 rooms. If there is no problem, it can supply them for a long time. During this period, there was still no movement in the apartment building. It seems that those people are really in danger. Although they may gradually starve to death, they will definitely not die suddenly on the same day. The only possibility is that the water is problematic, and they died after drinking the problematic water, or they turned into zombies. After thinking about it, he turned on the scan. Soon, he saw the situation in the apartment next door, and he retreated in just 1 second, which cost him 1 experience point. Wang Qiushui was watching him suddenly stunned, so he didn't disturb him. He turned his head to look at Wang Qiushui. This is trouble. There is really something wrong with this water. Wang Qiushui had a calm face, and it was obvious that he had already prepared himself mentally. Is this water not drinkable? He sighed. It can be drunk, but after drinking it, you will turn into zombies. The people in the apartment building did not die, but turned into zombies. Wang Qiushui opened his mouth in surprise. It rained for so long yesterday, and there must be a lot of people who had no water to drink. Doesn't that mean? He nodded. Yes, all the living people who drank the water will turn into zombies. In this way, the number of zombies will be even greater. However, those people should be hiding in the house. As long as the zombies can't come out, it will be a good thing for us. After all, it reduces the number of competitors. Wang Qiushui's mood suddenly became heavy. Will all the people die, and there will be only 2 of us left in the world? His brows also frowned, and after a while he said, no, only those who are desperate will drink rainwater. I believe that there are always people like us who have made preparations in advance, so there must be survivors. Wang Qiushui looked at him. Are there really any more? He nodded firmly. There must be some. After all, the people in our country are not so easily defeated by this small zombie virus. Wang Qiushui also nodded. Yes, that must be the case. He then looked at the water. Next, we have to find a way to clean up the water, otherwise it will be a waste of effort. Wang Qiushui asked curiously, do you have a solution? He nodded. I'm thinking about it, but it will take some time. Wang Qiushui stood aside and waited quietly. He shouted in his mind, System, are you there? System, if you have something to say, just say it. It seemed that the system was in a bad mood now. He swallowed carefully and then asked, last time when you tested the water, didn't you also get a water purification service for free? I will give you 1 point of experience now. You don't have to test it, just help me purify it. System, which bucket of water do you want to purify? Host, he said without thinking, I want to purify. The next second, he reacted, wait, you just asked me which bucket of water I want to purify? Didn't you purify it all last time? The same is true this time, just purify them all. Without waiting for the system to speak, he waved his hand and said generously, at most, there are 3 rooms here. I will give you 3 points of experience. System, there was not much water at that time, and it was the first time, so the charge was cheap. Now the quantity is so large, and more energy is required, so naturally we have to charge more. I will charge you 1 point of experience for each bucket. Just tell me how many buckets you want to purify. He almost said his catchphrase, but thinking that the system was in a bad mood, he asked with a smile, how much experience do I have now? System, the host now has 38 experience points, which can purify 38 buckets or basins of water. He nodded. He usually didn't want to use it, so of course he couldn't use it to purify the water. However, if it is not purified, the water will be useless. What's more, the water brought back from the restaurant before is not enough for the two of them to use for a long time. When the time comes, they will still need to use this water. At this time, his eyes rolled. System, you deleted the bicycle in the mall last time. That means I'm missing a product that I can buy. Shouldn't you compensate me? System, that's because the host said it was useless, so I deleted it. He waved his hand. Just tell me whether you deleted it or not. System, yes, but, he interrupted directly, since you admit it, that's enough. I'm missing a product for no reason, so shouldn't you give me one back? By the way, don't give me those that I can't use. System, then what do you want to give me back? When he heard this, he was overjoyed. There was a chance. But he still said in a calm tone, of course it's the water purifier. System, the mall has replenished the water purifier. You can buy it. Chapter 54 Water Purifier. He happily opened the store interface, scrolled to the end, and found that there was indeed an extra water purifier. Clicking on the introduction of the water purifier, it was written that it could purify all water resources to the level of drinking water. He nodded. This is what he wanted. It seems that the system is not always cheating him. And this is what a good system should do, to become a caring little cotton padded jacket for the host, and provide help when the host needs it. Then, he didn't even look at the price, and clicked to buy it. System, insufficient experience, purchase failed. He was stunned. Didn't he have 38 experience points? How could a purchase still fail? Then, he took a look at the price of the water purifier. He immediately shouted in his mind, what caring little cotton padded jacket, you are a black-hearted cotton. Come on, stick your head over here, I must give you a buff today. Just a broken water purifier, you dare to take 100 experience points from me? Today, either you die or I die. That's right, it takes 100 experience points to buy this water purifier. You know, even upgrading weapons and scanners only gives 10 experience points, not to mention other things. If he had 100 experience points, he would have upgraded to level 2 long ago, so the system was obviously forcing him. The system said slowly, first of all, I'm just a program, so it's not that easy for me to die. In other words, I won't die even if you die. Secondly, the price of the water purifier is so expensive, don't buy it if you are not happy. You know, water resources are scarce resources, and there are not many in the world today. Without a water purifier, you won't even be able to drink clean water in the future. He naturally understood this truth, but the key point was that he didn't have so many experience points. To get so many, he would have to kill dozens of zombies, and he would have to kill until his hands were tired. He thought for a while, well, system, can I owe you this first? Anyway, the experience points will not be lost. Give me the water purifier first, and you can slowly deduct the money later. System, this system does not owe money. After all, this world is too dangerous. The host may die at any time. Who should I ask for the unpaid debt by then? He was speechless. System, can't you expect me to do something? System, I'm just telling the truth. Don't forget, you are still an ordinary person now. He thought for a while, and asked again, System, can I use an ordinary water purifier to upgrade? System, yes, but you have to find an ordinary water purifier first. In addition, it costs 20 experience points to upgrade. He took several deep breaths to calm himself down, and then asked, isn't it only 10 points to upgrade a weapon? Why is there so much more for the water purifier? Are you making a profit from the difference? System, the water purifier is a special device, so it is naturally more expensive. It's just that the host is too poor now, otherwise I would charge more. He said helplessly, you are really good, 20 is 20. Wait until I find the water purifier and come back, just don't raise the price. But the system was silent. He looked at Wang Qiushui, we have to go to the factory next door this afternoon. Wang Qiushui was puzzled. Are we going to save people? He shook his head and walked upstairs. Go and get a water purifier, otherwise there is no way to purify the water. Wang Qiushui followed him. Is that so? But can an ordinary water purifier purify the zombie virus? Wait, how do you know there is a water purifier in there? he said as he walked. Just upgrade the water purifier when the time comes. As for why I know, it's because I used to work there. Wang Qiushui nodded. No wonder you know. Wait, that means the living people in there are your former colleagues? He smiled. Do you think I'm too cold-blooded and don't save acquaintances? Wang Qiushui didn't speak or nod. He sighed. Colleagues are just a work relationship, not even friends. We are polite to each other during work, but go home after get off work and don't contact each other. Moreover, in a small factory like this, the staff turnover is like water, and people are replaced every 10 days or half a month. There is really no deep affection. So, to me, they are no different from strangers. Wang Qiushui nodded. So that's how it is. By the way, are you sure that the water purifier can still be used? Otherwise, wouldn't our efforts be in vain? He smiled helplessly. It should be fine. At least it can still be used when I resign. Speaking of which, do you know why a factory would buy a water purifier? You know, although this factory is relatively small, there are dozens of people in total. Wang Qiushui shook his head. Why? He sneered. At the beginning, we all drank bottled water. Later, the boss thought bottled water was too expensive, so he bought a water purifier. However, the water used in the water purifier may be wastewater. Anyway, we can smell a strong smell of plastic in it. So, we brought our own water to drink later. Wang Qiushui was stunned for a moment, and then said contemptuously, then your boss is really stingy and black-hearted. However, in this way, will the water purifier be contaminated? I don't want to drink that kind of plastic-smelling water. He thought about it. It shouldn't be, just like the upgrade of the hammer and the skirt before. The upgrade directly changed its appearance. It should be brand new. At this time, Wang Qiushui asked a soul-stirring question. Is your water purifier solar-powered? He shook his head. It shouldn't be. What's wrong? The next second, he himself stood there in a daze. Now there is no electricity, so what's the use of him having a water purifier? Is it just for decoration? System, the host only needs to add 10 more experience points to upgrade to a solar water purifier. He gritted his teeth and asked, System, you are very skilled at taking advantage of the situation, but didn't you just say that it only takes 20 experience points to upgrade the water purifier? Then you should upgrade it for me. System, that depends on whether the host's water purifier is plug-in or solar. 20 experience points are just for the upgrade of the water purifier. If you want to change the original power, you will naturally need to spend a little more. He still insisted. Then let's talk about it later. Maybe it will be solar. System, then I wish the host good luck. He looked at Wang Qiushui. Let's talk about it then. Anyway, if it doesn't work, we will find another way. Wang Qiushui nodded, and now there was only one way. Then, the two returned to the room and used the water they had stored before to make lunch. After eating, Wang Qiushui put on the dark skirt, swung the earth hammer, and set off with him. However, at this time, she had changed her appearance. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 55, Entering the Factory. On the first floor, Wang Qiushui transformed into a zombie again. Looking at the changed Wang Qiushui in front of him, he still felt a little uncomfortable. Especially in the past, Wang Qiushui was wrapped in clothes, revealing only a pair of red eyes. But now Wang Qiushui looks more like a girl next door in plain clothes. A plain long skirt plus an ordinary hammer, on the contrary, has a sense of incoordination and weirdness. However, this kind of dress should be normal among zombies. Except that this long skirt is too clean, and the body is not dirty at all. You know, those zombies have been hungry for so many days, and they are basically skinny, plus they haven't taken a bath, so their bodies are basically dirty. Without thinking anymore, Wang Qiushui walked out directly, and walked towards the small factory next to him. The main purpose of today is to get the water purifier, the second is to try the effect of the dark skirt, and finally to save people. However, he is not going to show up directly, lest that person rely on them. He doesn't want to be an extra burden. The factory was right next to the building where they lived, so it was only a few steps away. Since they had used the system for free before, they had some idea of the situation inside, so they didn't need to scan it again. The more they could save, the better. In the whole factory, he remembered that, when he was still working, there were probably dozens of people, but definitely less than 100. And before, he saw that there were dozens of red dots, and one yellow dot inside. In other words, there were dozens of zombies, and one living person inside. Judging from the number of zombies, the most likely ones would be level 1 zombies, and there would be no level 2 zombies. It is even possible that all the zombies inside are ordinary zombies, which would be easier to deal with. With Wang Qiushui's current equipment, he could just rush in and smash it up, and that would be it, without having to think too much. As for the living person, it was hard to say whether he was still alive after 2 days. However, it didn't matter whether he was dead or alive, because it had nothing to do with him anyway. Just as he was thinking, Wang Qiushui had arrived at the factory gate. The factory gate was a simple telescopic door, only 1 person high. Usually, when a car came, the telescopic door would be opened. There was also a small door next to it that could accommodate 1 person, and it was also tightly closed at this time. There were several zombies in short sleeves wandering around in the factory yard. They just looked at Wang Qiushui and wandered around again. There were some black marks on the ground, but it was hard to tell whether it was human blood or the black liquid of zombies. Although these zombies are very thin now, you can still see the strong muscles on their arms. In addition to their clothes, they should be the workers who were responsible for moving goods before. I just don't know why these zombies didn't run out of the telescopic door. Did they not know how to run? Or did they dare not run? Wang Qiushui climbed directly over the telescopic door and entered the factory yard. Seeing Wang Qiushui land, the zombies turned their heads and looked at her. At this time, a ho-ho sound came from the 3rd floor. Before Wang Qiushui had time to see the situation on the 3rd floor clearly, the zombies rushed over directly. She didn't think about it anymore and directly swung the hammer of the earth to meet it. As soon as the 2 sides came into contact, the zombie in the front was smashed and flew away, and black liquid spurted out of its mouth. The other zombies were stunned. Wang Qiushui didn't give them time to react and rushed up and smashed them all. However, this hammer only injured them a little, not to the extent of death. So, Wang Qiushui took advantage of them falling to the ground and rushed forward again. Because she controlled the direction, when she swung the hammer just now, the zombies all fell in the same place at this time, and they all supported themselves with their hands and prepared to get up. Wang Qiushui rushed in front of them and then smashed the head of the zombie who fell first. Then, any zombie who wanted to get up would be hit by a hammer. After a series of attacks, the heads of the zombies were all turned into sauce, leaving only a headless corpse, with black liquid flowing out of it and emitting a foul smell. At the same time, the system also sent a series of messages, which were obviously kill prompts. Wang Qiushui looked at herself. There was no dirt on the hammer of the earth. Similarly, there was no dirt on her body. But it was a pity that she killed too quickly just now, so she couldn't test the actual effect of the dark skirt. This was also the reason for her rich practical experience. Now those ordinary zombies can't last more than 1 round under her hands. If the hammer of the earth was not powerful enough, she could even directly give the opponent a headshot and really kill one with 1 hammer. However, these practical experiences actually belonged to Wending. If Wang Qiushui came, it would be good to be able to kill one without fear, not to mention killing so cleanly. At this time, Wang Qiushui felt a prying gaze. She looked up and found a figure in red standing at the window on the 3rd floor, and there was also a pair of blood red eyes. Due to the poor light, she could only see that the other party was not tall, and she couldn't see the other party's appearance. However, just based on the red clothes and height, he guessed who it was. However, no matter who it was, they had all become zombies, and there was no difference. The ho-ho sound that drove the zombies on the 1st floor just now should have been made by her. Wang Qiushui didn't think about it anymore, and directly swung the hammer of the earth, and stepped onto the stairs leading to the 2nd floor. There must be no zombies on the 1st floor, otherwise such a big noise just now would have come out long ago. I just don't know if the remaining zombies are on the 2nd floor or the 3rd floor. This factory is not large, so the entire factory has only 3 floors. The first floor is used to store finished products, the second floor is for assembly line workers to work, and the third floor is for some management people to work. What can be confirmed now is that there must be a level 1 zombie on the third floor, otherwise, there would be no way to drive those zombies just now. As soon as Wang Qiushui came to the second floor, dozens of zombies inside stopped moving and then looked over together. Even though she had killed many zombies, she couldn't help but feel cold when she saw this scene. Being stared at by dozens of eyes at the same time was really creepy. After thinking about it, Wang Qiushui stepped back step by step and retreated to the stairs. At this time, the other zombies seemed to have received some instructions and followed step by step. The next second, Wang Qiushui turned around and ran downstairs without looking back. The zombies also sped up and rushed over directly, seemingly not intending to let Wang Qiushui go. Chapter 56, Running Away with a Hammer. Before coming here, Wang Qiushui planned to kill her way in, killing gods and buddhas. When she saw the transporting zombies being driven, she thought about going to the second floor to see the situation. If there was no big problem, she would still kill gods and buddhas. When she saw the performance of the zombies on the second floor, she immediately changed her strategy and decided to run away, because she saw several level 1 zombies inside. That means the zombie on the third floor may be level 2. Even if it is not level 2, it must be much stronger than these level 1 zombies to drive them. Of course, the most important point is that her transformation time is limited. If she is surrounded on the second floor, then she will be finished as soon as she finishes the transformation. Judging from the uniform actions of the zombies, she has no doubt about this. So, she hurried downstairs, at least to be closer to the door, otherwise she will not be able to run away later. Sure enough, when she ran downstairs, all the zombies followed her downstairs. Suddenly, the whole building made a booming sound. If you didn't know, you would think it was an earthquake. After she ran to the first floor, she kept running towards the gate. She didn't stop until she reached the gate. Then she turned around and leaned against the gate, holding the hammer of the earth in her hand, and looked at the group of zombies in front of her vigilantly. The group of zombies that followed her stood not far away from her and did not attack directly. It seemed that they also had a sense of fear for Wang Qiushui, who was of a high level, and the level 1 zombies quietly moved back, and it seemed that they did not intend to face Wang Qiushui head on. At this time, a ho-ho sound came from the third floor again. Wang Qiushui looked up and saw that the red-clothed zombie was standing by the windowsill, looking at him with his eyes slightly closed, looking angry. She raised her middle finger directly. She didn't expect to meet such a difficult opponent here. If the opponent was as brainless as the chef zombie, she wouldn't have to be so embarrassed. Suddenly, the ho-ho sound became louder. The zombies looked at each other and walked over step by step, which immediately put a lot of pressure on Wang Qiushui. She thought about it and rushed over with the hammer of the earth. The zombies paused and took a step back. At this time, the zombies on the third floor made another loud ho-ho sound. The zombies came forward reluctantly, while the level 1 zombies stood at the back and looked like they were ready to work without any effort. However, while the zombies retreated, Wang Qiushui retreated instead of advancing and ran directly to the door. When she was about to get close to the door, she swung the hammer of the earth and stuck it directly on the door, then pulled it hard. At the same time, she kicked her feet on the ground. Then, she flew out directly. In midair, she turned back and gave the zombies on the third floor a middle finger. The next second, she landed smoothly. However, she was not in a hurry to leave. She wanted to see what the zombies would do. If the zombies rushed out, she would find her chance to defeat them one by one. If they didn't rush out, she would go back and think of another way. As a result, the zombies stopped directly in front of the door, looking at the door at a loss. And the level 1 zombies just stood behind, motionless. It seems that they really dare not step out of the door. Otherwise, such a door as high as a person can't stop them at all. The zombies on the third floor made bursts of ho-ho sounds, but they didn't mean to come down. Wang Qiushui simply ignored it and walked back directly. It was a waste of time to stay here. When Wang Qiushui returned to the building, he directly cancelled the transformation. This time he still had a lot of extra energy, so he didn't fall down from exhaustion. As soon as Wang Qiushui woke up, he asked directly, "How did it go?" He waved his hand. "I just killed a few zombies. There was a very tricky guy inside who was driving other zombies, including several level 1 zombies. If you hadn't run faster just now, you would have been beaten to death." Wang Qiushui was shocked. "Is it so scary? Is that guy level 2 zombie?" He shook his head. "Judging from the number of zombies, it doesn't look like a level 2 zombie. However, she can drive other zombies. Maybe her ability is stronger, or her experience value is higher than others." Wang Qiushui nodded. "By the way, after I ran out, didn't they chase me? Could it be that there are zombies outside the door now?" He frowned. "This is what I find strange. When they chased you to the gate, they stopped directly and had no intention of chasing you out. However, I couldn't figure it out for a while." Wang Qiushui suddenly laughed. "Hearing you say that, it seems like those captive animals. Then can't we just go over and tease them? Anyway, they don't dare to come out." A light bulb went off in his head. "Yeah, isn't this just captivity? This also explains why those level 1 zombies are working, but not putting in any effort." Wang Qiushui didn't understand and asked quickly, "What's wrong? Did you think of something?" He clapped his hands. "Yes, that's it. I know why they don't dare to come out. Because, except for the zombie on the 3rd floor, all the remaining zombies are captive by her and are her food. That's why the other level 1 zombies didn't attack you. They want to see you and her fight to the death, or even both of you suffer losses, and then they will eat you." Wang Qiushui suddenly felt a chill. "What you said is so scary." However, he quickly frowned again. "But this doesn't explain why she didn't chase her down. With her strength, she shouldn't necessarily lose to you with empty hands." Wang Qiushui smiled. "That may be because she is afraid of my hammer of the earth. Seeing such a big hammer, how dare she come over?" He was stunned and murmured, "Scared?" Then he clapped his hands again. "I know." Wang Qiushui looked at him unhappily. "You're so startled. I'm really scared." He looked at Wang Qiushui. "I know what she is afraid of. She is afraid of the zombies on the high-speed train. There are at least hundreds of people on a high-speed train, and even a full load can reach about 1,000. And I saw only dozens of red dots left on the high-speed train, which means that only so many are left after they fought. And these are all battle hardened. Naturally they are not comparable to the zombies in the factory, so she dare not come out." Chapter 57 Midnight Attack. Hearing his analysis, Wang Qiushui's face immediately changed. "Now I'm really scared. If your analysis is correct, doesn't it mean that the zombies on the high-speed rail are much more powerful than that zombie? What if the zombies on the high-speed rail run down? What should we do?" He waved his hand. "Let's wait until they run down. Now they are all scrambling for a place in the finals. Besides, they may not come down. Even if they really come down, we will be stronger by then, and with the dark skirt and the hammer of the earth, how can we still be afraid of them?" Wang Qiushui held the hammer of the earth and felt a lot more relieved. He added, "However, if we can't get rid of the zombies in the factory, then we won't be able to get the water purifier." Wang Qiushui looked at him. "Can we learn from your previous trick and kill someone with a borrowed knife, and then we can benefit from it, or drive the tiger to swallow the wolf and let the zombies on the high-speed rail come down to get rid of them?" He shook his head. "Even the level 1 zombies are driven by her. It's not that easy to kill someone with a borrowed knife, and she has never made a move. As for driving the tiger to swallow the wolf, I can't drive the zombies on the high-speed rail." Wang Qiushui leaned against the wall. "Then I have no choice. This kind of brain-intensive matter is better left to you. I'll just take care of it." He also leaned against the wall and thought. There are too many zombies in the factory, and Wang Qiushui's transformation time is limited, so it is destined that he can't fight a protracted war, let alone be surrounded. If they can be lured out, they can be defeated one by one, but unfortunately they stopped when they came to the door, which was obviously an order from the red zombie on the 3rd floor. If you want to catch a thief, you must catch the leader first. The red closed zombie had been hiding on the 3rd floor, giving him no chance at all, and he couldn't get around the zombies in the end. So, after going around and around, he finally returned to the starting point. For a moment, he had no good idea. After thinking for an unknown period of time, he suddenly said, "Let's go back to sleep." Wang Qiushui was stunned at first, then his face turned red. "Ah," he explained, "there are too many zombies inside, and we have no advantage against them at all. So, let's go back to sleep now, and we will take action at night." Wang Qiushui thought for a while. "You want a sneak attack in the middle of the night? But will this method work?" He nodded. "Yes, the zombies will gradually stop moving at night. Even if they find a sneak attack, their reaction speed will not be as fast as during the day. At that time, we can beat the slow with the fast and defeat them one by one." Wang Qiushui asked, "But, I will also become a zombie at that time. Will my movements also become slower?" He didn't know the answer to this question. After all, Wang Qiushui had never become a zombie at night. However, he still said, "I will be in control at that time, so it shouldn't happen. Even if it becomes slower, the opponent will be the same, and we are launching a sneak attack, so we still have the advantage." Wang Qiushui nodded. "There is another problem. It will be dark at that time. How can you see?" He said directly, "Don't you have a mobile phone? Just turn on the lighting function of the mobile phone." Wang Qiushui was stunned, "But my mobile phone doesn't have much power, and I still want to use it to read novels. Besides, don't you have a mobile phone too?" He waved his hand. "I need to use my mobile phone to look at maps, otherwise I won't know how to get back in the future." "Don't worry, there are many cars on the road, and in the factory, just find one to charge your mobile phone." Wang Qiushui asked, "What if those cars are out of power?" He answered after a while, "Then you can only stop reading novels for the time being." Wang Qiushui sighed, "Don't read it, if you don't want to. I'm willing to do it for the water purifier." He patted Wang Qiushui's shoulder with relief. "Thank you for your efforts. Let's go back and rest first, and then do it in the evening." Then the two went back. In the middle of the night, he woke up first, took a look at Wang Qiushui who was still sleeping, and started to cook. After all, he hadn't eaten dinner yet, and he would have to consume a lot of energy in a while, so he should eat first. While cooking, he was thinking about what to do next. At this time, a lazy voice suddenly came from behind him. "Is it ready? Can we eat it?" He was almost scared. After turning around and finding Wang Qiushui in the light of the fire, he said, "I was scared to death. Why did you get up? I wanted you to sleep a little longer." Wang Qiushui yawned. "I woke up when I smelled the food. Can we eat now?" He waved his hand. "Go wash up first. It will be almost done after washing up." Wang Qiushui went to the bathroom to wash up. Then, after the two finished their meal, they came to the first floor. Wang Qiushui asked nervously, "Is your plan really feasible? I'm really a little scared at night." He thought for a moment, "Even if we can't kill those zombies, we'll be fine." Wang Qiushui nodded. "Then my body, no, my life is in your hands." After saying that, her face turned slightly red, but it was not clear in the dark. Then, Wang Qiushui began to transform, and her pair of red eyes were still very conspicuous in the dark. Then, she felt her body again, and she did feel a lack of energy. It seems that zombies need to rest at night out of their biological instinct. Then, Wang Qiushui opened the door and walked out. In the sky, the moon was high, and the moonlight shone on the earth, so the road could be vaguely seen. In addition, there were no zombies nearby, so Wang Qiushui did not turn on the lighting function of the mobile phone. After groping forward all the way, he finally arrived in front of the factory. However, although the courtyard could be vaguely seen, there were no zombies. She sighed, then swung the hammer of the earth and carefully crawled in. This time she was going deep into the tiger's den. After landing, she turned on her mobile phone directly. A beam of light came out from her hand, and she could see things much more clearly. She first checked the surrounding environment, and confirmed that there were no zombies before moving forward. If there were zombies hiding nearby, her retreat would be blocked when a fight broke out. The factory on the first floor was too large, and there were many machines and goods piled up in it. She didn't even plan to go in. Even if there were zombies inside, it would be too troublesome to find them, and even if she took action, it would be affected. So, she planned to go to the stairs. After all, the zombies she saw in the afternoon were all on the second floor. As a result, as soon as her light shone on the stairs, she almost screamed. Chapter 58. Didn't your mother tell you? Although she held back in time, she still gasped. Hiss. The next second, she quickly swung up the hammer of the earth, carefully guarding against possible attacks. Fortunately, nothing happened. At this time, she was relieved and looked at the scene in front of her carefully. There were zombies standing on the stairs, full of them, all with their heads down, and no movement. But this scene always made Wang Qiushui feel that they would raise their heads in the next second, revealing hideous and terrifying faces, and then pounce on them. It felt like exploring a haunted house, or watching a horror movie. She took a careful look, and could only see that the first few were ordinary zombies, and the level 1 zombies were not here. It seems that this was also arranged by the red zombie to prevent her from coming back to attack. Of course, it is also possible that these zombies have always been like this, a bit like the order of levels. The low level ones can only be below, and the high level ones are above. Wang Qiushui looked carefully at the positions of the zombies, and then turned off the phone. Swinging the hammer of the earth with both hands, she began to slowly adjust her breathing. There was no other way. Her movements became slow, and she could only accumulate power in this way. The next second, she finished accumulating power, and she jumped up on the spot, and then smashed directly in front of her. At the same time, she shouted, "Why can't you sleep?" With a loud bang, she was happy that she succeeded, and ran out quickly after landing. Hearing the sound, the zombies raised their heads one after another, revealing pairs of red eyes. In this late night, it was really creepy. However, the zombie that was hit by Wang Qiushui in the front obviously couldn't raise his head, because the whole head was smashed into the chest. This is also the reason why she accumulated power before, and she must kill it with one blow. While running, Wang Qiushui did not forget to pay attention to the upstairs. I saw a few red lights on the second floor, and then a red light on the third floor, and then the familiar ho-ho sound. Sure enough, the zombies chased after him directly. However, they may have just woken up, so their movements are still relatively slow. Wang Qiushui kept running forward, and stopped at the gate. Then, she began to accumulate strength again. The zombies staggered to chase after her, and their movements looked like those of an old man who could not walk. They were completely not as agile as they were during the day. It seemed that they were also greatly affected by the night. When the zombies came to her, Wang Qiushui jumped up again and smashed down. At the same time, she kicked the zombie in front of her hard, and then a rebound force jumped directly out of the gate. The zombie she hit also had his head smashed into his chest, and his body just shook twice before falling to the ground. After landing, she walked back without even looking at it. I thought that the red clothed zombie's brain was not very good in the dark night, and the zombies would chase him out. As a result, she never heard the sound of pursuit from behind, which made her very disappointed. After returning to the building, Wang Qiushui woke up and asked anxiously, "How was it?" He smiled and said, "Not bad. I killed 2. Moreover, the darkness does affect your movements, but I don't know if it's because I'm controlling it, or if the higher the level, the smaller the impact. In short, you are not affected as much as those ordinary zombies. I saw them crawling faster than walking just now." Wang Qiushui thought about the picture, and laughed out loud. It's good that it's useful. It's worth my hard work to stay up late. After we have a good rest, we will continue and try to kill him to the ground. He nodded. "You can take a nap while you recover your strength. I'll call you later." After that, he closed his eyes and leaned against the wall to rest. Wang Qiushui also imitated him and leaned against the wall. Not long after, his strength recovered. He shook Wang Qiushui's shoulder. "Wake up, get up and work." Wang Qiushui replied lazily, "Don't disturb me, I just fell asleep, let me sleep a little longer." He had no choice but to move forward and whisper in Wang Qiushui's ear, "Zombies are coming." The next second, Wang Qiushui suddenly woke up and stood up, holding the hammer of the earth in his hand. Where are the zombies?" He laughed out loud. Wang Qiushui looked at him. "I was almost scared to death by you," he said helplessly. "What can I do? I called you just now, but you refused to get up." Wang Qiushui was stunned for a moment, then muttered, "Did you call me just now? Why didn't I hear it?" He shook his head helplessly, Forget it, let's continue. Kill a few more before dawn. It won't be so easy when it's dawn. Wang Qiushui rushed over directly. Then hurry up, I have to go back to catch up on sleep after killing them. He just felt that there was suddenly a soft thing in his arms. Maybe this is the so-called warm and soft jade. Before he had time to think about it, he felt as if his back was stabbed by something sharp. When he looked up, he saw a pair of red eyes. However, it didn't look so scary, but a little charming. He sighed, calmed down, and then controlled Wang Qiushui to walk out. It was more important to work. Wang Qiushui entered the factory again, but she checked carefully, but did not find the two bodies just now. She didn't know whether they were eaten or dragged away and put away. If the red-clothed zombie was really keeping them captive, then the bodies should have been sent to the third floor. I believe she would not allow these zombies to continue to grow and threaten her position. As for why the red-clothed zombie did not kill those level 1 zombies, it might be because she did not want to fight to a draw. After all, 2 fists cannot beat 4 hands, and she may not be able to deal with their joint efforts. Without thinking anymore, Wang Qiushui walked towards the stairs with ease. Sure enough, here she saw the familiar scene again. The zombies stood there like hanged ghosts, which was really scary. Even though she was mentally prepared, she was still scared. She didn't think anymore and started to accumulate strength directly and then gave the front zombie a hammer. Didn't your mother tell you that it's wrong to scare people in the middle of the night? The same hit was successful, and then it was the familiar plot of running away. Of course, she killed another one before running away. However, during this process, the zombies on the 3rd and 2nd floors still just watched quietly and did not mean to come down to help. Next, throughout the night, Wang Qiushui came over to kill zombies after he had rested, causing chaos in the factory. Chapter 59, Killing. As the day was about to dawn, the zombies began to gradually resume their movements. He looked at the number of zombies killed sent by the system, and half of them should have been killed. After killing all night, he and Wang Qiushui were already very tired, and the zombies had just woken up and were in a normal state. It was not suitable to kill them anymore. So, he shook Wang Qiushui. Wake up, wake up. Wang Qiushui subconsciously wanted to pounce on him again, and she almost formed a conditioned reflex. She was half asleep and half awake all night. As long as she heard Wending's voice, she would pounce on him directly and put her mouth close to him. She didn't need to worry about what happened next, just go to sleep. He quickly hugged Wang Qiushui and avoided him at the same time, so as not to have to cancel the transformation later. Wang Qiushui asked confusedly, what's wrong? Haven't you transformed yet? While saying this, he wanted to move closer. He quickly dodged and whispered, it's dawn, no need to transform. Wang Qiushui said oh, and then actually fell asleep on his shoulder. He looked at this scene and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. After thinking for a while, he carefully put Wang Qiushui on his back and carried her upstairs. Wang Qiushui stayed up all night, and her body was also controlled by him to kill zombies. She was exhausted both physically and mentally, so it was normal for her to fall asleep at this time. As for him, although he was also tired, it was okay. After all, he used to be a champion of staying up late. It was just one night, which was not a big problem for him. After returning to the room, he carefully put Wang Qiushui down and covered her with a quilt. Then, he lay down on his mat and fell asleep in less than 2 minutes. He slept until noon. There was no way. He didn't really want to wake up, but he was hungry and woke up directly. He took a look and saw that Wang Qiushui was still sleeping, so he didn't wake her up. He washed up first and then started to cook. But this time, Wang Qiushui didn't wake up until he finished cooking. It seemed that she was really exhausted. He put the food on the table and then called Wang Qiushui to get up. Wake up, get up and eat. Wang Qiushui opened her eyes slightly. You eat first, I'll eat later. He directly lifted the quilt. The food will get cold later. Eat first and then go to sleep. Wang Qiushui climbed out of the bed, then sat directly on the chair and picked up the chopsticks. He was speechless and snatched the chopsticks. Go wash up first. Wang Qiushui said oh, and then the whole person walked towards the bathroom step by step like a zombie last night. When she came back, the whole person was finally much more energetic. He handed over the chopsticks Come, let's eat. Wang Qiushui took the chopsticks, but did not eat the rice. Instead, he asked, how was the performance last night? I don't remember anything in the end. He took a mouthful of rice directly, and after swallowing it, he said, we have killed half of them, but they are all ordinary zombies. Those level 1 zombies and the red closed zombies are still there. Wang Qiushui took a mouthful of rice with a bitter face. Is that so? I feel like I have been busy all night in vain. I thought it would be almost done after waking up. He picked up a piece of bacon for Wang Qiushui. If you sleep again tonight, it should be almost done. Wang Qiushui picked up the bacon and took a bite. Doesn't that mean we have to stay up late? I just checked, and I have dark circles under my eyes. No, I can't stay up late tonight. Let's eat, and then we will go and get rid of them after dinner, so that we can have a good sleep tonight. He was stunned for a moment, then asked, can your body still bear it? Otherwise, you should rest first. After you get it done tonight, you can sleep for a day tomorrow, to make up for it. Wang Qiushui shook his head firmly. It can't be recovered. Staying up late is too damaging to the skin. My body can handle it. Let's get rid of them as soon as possible to avoid more trouble. He had no choice but to agree, but if your body can't handle it, you must listen to me at that time, and don't hold on any longer. Wang Qiushui nodded and picked up a piece of fish for him. Okay, I'll listen to you. Eat quickly, and then go and deal with them. I can't wait. He couldn't help but laugh at Wang Qiushui's eagerness, and then he ate his meal in big mouthfuls. After finishing the meal, the two went to the first floor. When he transformed, he couldn't help but think of last night, and his heart was moved. But seeing that Wang Qiushui was the same as before, it seemed that she really didn't remember anything last night. He didn't think about it anymore, and asked Wang Qiushui to transform directly. After the transformation, Wang Qiushui came to the factory gate swinging the hammer of the earth. From the outside, there were a group of zombies wandering around the compound, but the number was obviously much smaller. As for the corpses, they were all gone. If it weren't for the traces of black liquid on the ground, she would have thought she was dreaming last night. And all the zombies in the compound were ordinary zombies. I don't know where those level 1 zombies yesterday hid. Maybe they wanted to attack secretly, or they were afraid and hid. She went in directly through the gate. Since there were only so few left, she would just do it directly. As long as those level 1 zombies and the red closed zombies didn't show up, it would not be so easy to keep her. Seeing her come in, the eyes of the zombies immediately became redder. I don't know if it was because they stayed up late, or because they were particularly jealous of each other when they met their enemies. After all, the one in front of them was the culprit who made them not rest for a night. Then, without the urging of the red closed zombies, they rushed towards Wang Qiushui directly. Wang Qiushui still had her back against the gate. Before she saw those high-level zombies, she would not rush out, lest she fall into their trap. Seeing those zombies getting closer and closer, and from beginning to end, those high-level zombies did not appear. Wang Qiushui went straight to meet them, and first dealt with these small fish, and then they would always meet each other. With a loud bang, the leading zombie was directly smashed by the hammer of the earth and flew out, and the black liquid sprayed on the ground. At the same time, a crackling sound could be heard. Probably a few ribs were broken. However, even so, the remaining zombies still seemed to be not afraid at all, and continued to rush forward. Wang Qiushui leaned against the gate, and swung the hammer of the earth desperately, with the momentum of one man blocking the pass and 10,000 men unable to open it. And those zombies were smashed, and flew out one by one, but because they were not hit in the vital parts, they quickly got up, and rushed over again. Chapter 60 Internal Strife. There was nothing she could do about it. There were too many zombies. She couldn't keep chasing and smashing them, like she did yesterday, until they couldn't get up. The consequence now was that she could only injure the opponent, but not kill him. However, this was the best way now. Sometimes, if there were enough soldiers, they could wear out the masters alive. This was the reason. Even if one person could only hit one punch, it was enough for the masters to bear. At the beginning, she didn't forget to dodge when she swung the hammer. This was an instinctive thing, because she was subconsciously afraid of being scratched by the zombies' claws. But because there were too many zombies, she couldn't react in time, and began to be attacked by the zombies. However, even though she was attacked, she still didn't feel anything. At this time, she remembered that she still had the dark skirt on her body. Taking advantage of the gap in the battle, she took a look at the dark skirt, but found that there was only a tiny scratch on it, which should be caused by the zombie's claws. Other than that, she didn't feel any pain at all, and she didn't even know when she was caught. She immediately felt relieved, and her movements became more aggressive, completely giving up defense. However, she still tried to avoid some attacks on her skin. Although the introduction on the dark skirt said that it could protect the whole body, who knew whether it was true or not? What if something unexpected happened? At this time, the voice of the system suddenly sounded. System products must be excellent products. All descriptions are absolutely true. The host can use it with confidence. Wang Qiushui paused for a moment, and then chased the zombies and smashed them regardless of anything. Since the system said so, there should be no problem. The zombies were stunned at first by such a counterattack. However, soon they rushed over without hesitation, showing their claws and scratching Wang Qiushui. As a result, they found that there was no sign of injury on Wang Qiushui's body, and they were immediately confused. What was going on? One zombie seemed to suspect that there was something wrong with his claws, so he clawed at the zombie next to him. Suddenly, black liquid flew out. The captured zombie got angry and started to fight back. The two zombies hugged each other and wrestled, and black liquid splashed. Wang Qiushui looked at this scene and laughed. The zombie was not too stupid. He knew to try it on others. At the same time, she also carefully recalled the feeling just now. When those claws scratched her skin just now, it was just a slight touch. However, her skin was not even scratched, so there was no need to worry about getting hurt. She was completely relieved at this time, and then she started to rush towards the zombies with the hammer of the earth. At this time, black liquid flowed from the corners of the mouths of all the zombies. Although they would not die, they had already suffered internal injuries. Although it is not known whether they will heal themselves later or other changes will occur. However, Wang Qiushui decided to strike first and harvest these experiences first. He could not make wedding clothes for the red-clothed zombie. Those zombies would naturally not sit and wait for death and attacked again. However, they found that all attacks were ineffective against Wang Qiushui, and they would be sent flying if they were hit by a hammer, and they were immediately in despair. Even so, they still did not retreat, wondering if they had received some death order before. Wang Qiushui didn't care about that. Anyway, she didn't have to defend now. So she focused on hitting the head, playing the whack-a-mole game, and a zombie lost his life with each hit. After a while, the corpses of the zombies were lying on the ground, and the black liquid was everywhere. However, the corpses on the ground were all headless, which looked very creepy. The two zombies from before were still wrestling regardless of anything, as if they were going to decide the winner. Wang Qiushui walked up to them. Hey, stop fighting. There are only two of you left. The two zombies didn't even look at her. Wang Qiushui snorted coldly. Oh, you don't even care about me, right? I'll send you off together. Then two hammers were smashed down, and the heads of the two zombies were sunken. But even so, they still grabbed each other tightly and refused to let go. If you don't know, you would really think they are a pair of good friends. Wang Qiushui shook her head and smashed again. After a while, the heads of the two zombies exploded like smashed watermelons, and black liquid splashed everywhere. She quickly jumped back and checked at the same time. When she looked, she found that there was no black liquid on her body. She couldn't help but nodded. This non-stick pan feature is still quite useful. At this time, there were corpses everywhere, and her transformation time was almost up, so she walked towards the door. Unfortunately, there were too many corpses, and it was too troublesome to move them. Otherwise she would definitely take them all away and not leave them to the red zombie. Just as she walked out of the door, there was a bang behind her, followed by a click sound of broken glass. She looked back and saw that there was suddenly a zombie's back on the glass window on the third floor. The glass window was even more cracked by the impact, but it hadn't broken yet. Then, a black shadow flashed by, and the zombie's head flew up immediately. At the same time, a stream of black liquid gushed out, painting the glass black. Then, the figure of the red-clothed zombie appeared in front of the glass window, and a pair of red eyes looked at Wang Qiushui. However, the red eyes were unusually calm and could not see anything. The next second, the red closed zombie disappeared from the window again. Wang Qiushui did not watch anymore and hurried into the building. After returning to the building, the time for transformation was over. Wang Qiushui's hand loosened and the hammer of the earth fell to the ground. He quickly helped Wang Qiushui to the wall and lay down with him. As soon as Wang Qiushui woke up, he asked, "What happened?" He exhaled. "Those ordinary zombies have been dealt with." Wang Qiushui thought for a while. That is to say, there are only those level 1 zombies and the red closed zombie left. He shook his head. "I guess those level 1 zombies are also finished." Wang Qiushui was stunned for a moment. Am I so strong now? I can kill them all in such a short time. He laughed. "You are self-aware. In fact, those level 1 zombies didn't show up at all. But when I was leaving, I saw the red closed zombie on the 3rd floor killed a zombie. Those level 1 zombies should be on the 3rd floor." Wang Qiushui immediately applauded. "That means they are fighting among themselves, and we will be the ones to reap the benefits later." Chapter 61 System Benefits. Recalling that the zombie was beheaded just now, he sighed. It's not easy to be the fisherman. Wang Qiushui was puzzled. They are all fighting among themselves. They must have fought. Even if both are not injured, they will definitely be injured. By then, we will wait until they are done fighting, and the remaining one will probably be dead or disabled, and we can do whatever we want to him. He explained. "I just saw a level 1 zombie's head was chopped off. Although I didn't see it clearly at the time, it should have been cut by claws." Wang Qiushui was stunned for a moment. "Aren't those claws very sharp? I wonder if the dark skirt can withstand it." "Wait, she can chop off the heads of several level 1 zombies at the same time. Doesn't that mean her strength is much higher than that of a level 1 zombie? Could she be level 2? He thought for a while. The skirt of darkness should be able to withstand it. After all, its introduction says that it can withstand attacks of level 2 and below. The ordinary zombies just now couldn't cause any damage at all. As for the level of the red closed zombie, it should not be level 2. First of all, I didn't feel any pressure from her. If she was level 2, she would definitely feel the pressure. Secondly, if she was level 2, she would have chased you and killed you long ago, and she wouldn't have been hiding up there watching the show." Wang Qiushui nodded. "That makes sense. Then why do you think they are fighting among themselves?" He analyzed. "We killed half of the ordinary zombies yesterday, and they started fighting today, so it is probably because of the pressure we caused. As for the internal strife, the red closed zombie stayed on the 3rd floor yesterday, which means that these level 1 zombies united to go to the 3rd floor. So I guess they want to kill the red closed zombie and replace the red closed zombie, or they just want to fight for a chance to survive. After all, with the red closed zombie around, they can't even get out of the door and can only wait for us to kill them." Wang Qiushui agreed. "That is to say, they were originally being boiled like frogs in warm water by the red zombies. As a result, our appearance disrupted the red zombies' plan, and they began to resist the red zombies. No matter what, the result is beneficial to us. At least it can save us a lot of effort." He sighed. "In a sense, it is true, but after the red zombies kill them, their strength will definitely be enhanced. Even if they can't reach level 2, it probably won't be much different. Fortunately, even if she eats the corpses of those zombies, she won't gain their abilities, otherwise it will be more troublesome." Wang Qiushui leaned his head against the wall. "Never mind, we'll just take action later. If we can't beat them, then we'll find a water purifier and run away. After all, our purpose is not to kill zombies." He smiled. "Then you don't plan to save people?" Wang Qiushui shook his head. "You're right. People are selfish. I won't be stupid enough to risk my own life to save people." He also leaned his head against the wall. "Then let's rest for a while and talk about it after they're done fighting." After they rested, they waited for a while before getting ready to set off. Wang Qiushui looked at the dark skirt on his body and frowned. Although the skirt is not torn, the scratches on it are too glaring. He shouted directly, "System, can you find a way to repair it?" "System, 1 point of experience can be repaired." He was speechless. "System, are you greedy for money? You dare to charge me 1 point of experience for such a small scratch?" Although he only needs to kill an ordinary zombie to get 1 point of experience, his experience is not blown by the wind after all. System. The host can choose not to repair it. However, I would like to remind the host that 1,000-mile dam is destroyed by an anthole. Although it looks like a small and inconspicuous scratch now, if it is attacked many times, it may still cause damage to the dark skirt. At that time, the protective effect will not be so good. He gritted his teeth and said, "Then you can do it. Do I need to do anything to repair it?" System. You only need to touch the skirt with your hand. In addition, this is a benefit given by the system. He didn't care so much. What's the benefit? It's obviously a way to cheat his experience points. Then, he told Wang Qiushui, who knew that after Wang Qiushui heard it, his cheeks immediately turned red. He still didn't react. Anyway, if I just touch the skirt, I can repair the scratches on it. And only after it's repaired can the protective effect be guaranteed. Wang Qiushui's face was as red as a ripe apple. She gritted her teeth. Why are all your superpowers so obscene? He touched his clothes with his hand. Obscene. It's just touching the skirt. How is it obscene? He couldn't figure out what was obscene about it. Wang Qiushui was speechless. So do you want to touch it directly, or do you want me to take off the skirt for you to touch? He answered stupidly, both are fine. But you take off the skirt, I touch the skirt, and then you put it back on, which is a bit troublesome. Wang Qiushui didn't know if he was pretending to be stupid or really stupid. Damn hooligan. He was stunned for a moment. How am I a hooligan? I haven't done anything yet. Besides, isn't the discussion about repairing the dark skirt now? How is it a hooligan? After saying that, he stretched out his hand to look at it again, and then took a look at the dark skirt. He reacted immediately and didn't know what to say. However, he still explained, "Well, that's not what I meant. I really didn't think of that just now." At the same time, he cursed in his heart. "You system, you said it was a benefit for me, but now you've made me a gangster." System. It is indeed a benefit. Whether you can get it depends on your ability. You don't have the ability, and you are called a gangster. You can't blame the system. He glanced at Wang Qiushui, whose face was flushed, and then said, "Well, how about we go up first? You change your dark skirt, I'll repair it, and then you put it on. After all, safety is more important." Wang Qiushui bit her lip, with a look of entanglement on her face, and finally shook her head. "No, that's too much trouble, and there are 16 floors of stairs back and forth. I don't want to climb them all." He said again, "Since you don't want to, then forget it. Such a small scratch should be fine. Repair it after defeating the red zombie. By the way, I really wasn't being a gangster just now." Wang Qiushui suddenly grabbed his hand and put it on the skirt. "Didn't you say safety is important? It's better to repair it." He was stunned for a moment, and his hands trembled slightly. Wang Qiushui blushed and urged, "Hurry up. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels." Chapter 62 Old Colleagues. Until Wang Qiushui transformed and walked out, his original body still stayed in the same place, thinking about it in his heart. In fact, he was still a gentleman. He just quickly touched the dark skirt with his hand, and did not do anything out of the ordinary. Moreover, the touch of his hand was more of the feedback from the fabric of the dark skirt. It must be said that the fabric was really good, and felt very comfortable. He was even considering whether to upgrade a set of clothes for himself. Thinking of this, his hands trembled slightly. It felt really good. On the other side, Wang Qiushui came to the factory gate again. The zombie bodies in the yard were still lying on the ground, and the headless zombie on the third floor was gone. The whole factory was quiet, without any sound, as if the factory was dead. She sighed. What was coming was still coming, and then climbed over the iron gate again and walked in. When she landed, there was still no change in the factory. It seemed that all the ordinary zombies had been killed by her. She swung the hammer of the earth, and walked towards the stairs step by step. She wanted to see what happened upstairs. Besides, if the red zombies really fight those level 1 zombies to a draw, she can still pick up a lot of experience for free. You know, a level 1 zombie has 10 experience points, which is much better than killing 10 ordinary zombies, but it is too difficult to kill. Pa, pa, pa. The flat shoes touched the stairs, making a dull sound of footsteps, echoing in the building. There was no way Wang Qiushui was still controlled by him at this time, and he really couldn't get used to wearing high heels. Besides, it was more difficult to fight in high heels, and he was not a professionally trained girl group. In addition, you can't run in high heels, and you can't run fast when you want to escape. Soon, Wang Qiushui came to the second floor. Thinking of the scene yesterday, she still had lingering fears. If she saw a large group of zombies inside later, it would be really desperate. She stepped out carefully and then looked at the second floor. Fortunately, it was quiet inside, without a single zombie. The things were even neatly arranged, without any signs of fighting. However, she did not go in to check, but went directly to the third floor. As soon as she walked up to the third floor, she saw that the thick glass door had been broken, and the ground was full of broken glass shards. She frowned, then carefully chose places without glass shards to stand, and then walked in. As soon as she entered, she saw the broken glass window from the corner of her eye. The window was in the conference room, and it was still full of black liquid, but the body was indeed gone. The conference room was empty, and there was no zombie hiding. She turned her head to the right, and the broken pieces of the table and documents were scattered everywhere. On the ground, on the documents, and on the walls, you can see claw marks and some dried black marks. Because it has been so long, it is impossible to tell whether it is human blood or the black liquid left by zombies. Behind a desk in the upper right corner, a zombie with short hair and red clothes was sitting there with his head down, holding a pen in his right hand, and moving it constantly, as if he was writing. In his left hand, he was holding a thing that he didn't know whether it was a hand or a foot, and he would bite it from time to time. Hearing Wang Qiushui's footsteps, the zombie suddenly raised its head and looked at her. Wang Qiushui stood there. Although she had guessed it before, she couldn't help but sigh when she saw the zombie's appearance. However, thinking that there might be a living person hiding here, she didn't say anything. The zombie in front of her was the former purchaser of Wending's company, and the desk belonged to her. In the past, she also took notes and ate like she did just now. Unexpectedly, when they met again, she had become a zombie, and the most powerful zombie here. I just don't know why she stayed on the third floor. Was it to protect the living person, or to prevent the living person from escaping? However, these are not important. The most important thing is that those level 1 zombies are not here, and they were obviously solved by her. Now I don't know if she is injured, or how serious her injuries are. How can you let others sleep soundly beside your bed? Therefore, this red-clothed zombie must die, otherwise it will threaten the two of them sooner or later. However, if Wang Qiushui found that she couldn't beat him, she would choose to run away first, and come back after she upgraded and got some equipment. The red zombie threw away the things in his hand, and his red eyes shrank slightly, conveying a dangerous message. At the same time, he made a series of ho-ho sounds. Seeing the performance of the red zombie, Wang Qiushui immediately knew what was going on. If the other party was not injured, he would not use this method to scare her. He must feel that he can't beat him, or he is seriously injured, so he wants to scare her away. Wang Qiushui moved her neck, then swung the hammer of the earth, and walked towards the red zombie step by step. She also slowed down her pace to create a sense of oppression for the other party. Walking along the way, stepping on those documents, a series of harsh clicking sounds were made, which sounded particularly obvious in this small office. As Wang Qiushui approached step by step, the ho-ho sounds made by the red zombie became louder and louder. However, when Wang Qiushui passed by a small office nearby, a zombie with a broken arm suddenly jumped out and rushed towards her. Wang Qiushui didn't even look at it and swung the hammer of the earth directly. Bang! The hammer of the earth collided with the zombie's head. The next second, the zombie's head actually exploded directly, and black liquid splashed, some of which splashed on Wang Qiushui's body. However, the black liquid had no way to stick to her body, and soon it slid down, as if it fell on a smooth surface, until it fell to the ground. At the same time, she also saw the message sent by the system, zombie kill count +10. She was stunned for a moment. When did level 1 zombies become so easy to kill? She looked at the zombie corpse that flew out, only to see that the corpse had already been broken. It is estimated that the zombie's head had been hit almost before, but she just happened to finish it off, so she picked up 10 experience points for nothing. At the same time, when Wang Qiushui was suddenly attacked, the red zombie also stood up and jumped onto the table, then jumped again and flew directly towards her. That's right, it was flying, not jumping. Although the red zombie didn't have wings, the distance between the two sides was still 5 or 6 meters, and it couldn't jump that far just by jumping. Moreover, when the red zombie was in the air, he stretched out his hands straight out. Chapter 63 Retractable Nails. Wang Qiushui did not block it immediately, but looked at the hands of the red zombie. To her surprise, the hands of the red zombie were no different from those of ordinary zombies, and there were no long and sharp nails. This made her feel strange. Since there were no nails, what was the head of the zombie she saw in the morning chopped off by? Although from the current situation, the leg strength of the red zombie must be very strong. However, if it was a kick, it would not cause a smooth cut, and the whole head should have exploded. So, either the red zombie's toenails are very long and sharp. After all, Wang Qiushui can only see the upper body of the red zombie now, but not the feet. Or the red zombie has hidden a sharp weapon, waiting to give Wang Qiushui a fatal blow. While she was thinking, the red zombie was almost in front of her, and his hands were aimed at her heart, and it seemed that he wanted to kill her with one blow. Wang Qiushui didn't think about it, and directly swung the hammer of the earth and smashed it out. Although the dark skirt can protect her, if it is damaged, it will definitely take a lot of experience points to repair it. Moreover, the system also said that, if it is damaged many times, it will affect the protective effect. He didn't want Wang Qiushui to get hurt because of this. The hammer of the earth hit the red zombie, making a dang sound. Then, the red zombie flew backwards, and then jumped several times on the ground before stopping. In addition, perhaps because she noticed the height difference between the two sides, she finally landed on a table, so that she could barely look down at Wang Qiushui. Wang Qiushui shook her hand. The previous blow was like hitting a piece of hard iron, and the recoil force transmitted back made her hands feel uncomfortable. The red zombie did not move again, but stood on the table and observed Wang Qiushui. And she was also observing the red zombie. From the current situation, the red zombie has indeed not reached level 2, otherwise she would not have been hit back by her hammer. However, this red zombie is also not easy to deal with. Just from this one move, we can tell that the red zombie has a strong jumping ability, that is, the leg strength is amazing. In addition, there is also a very high physical defense. This physical defense is not like the chef zombie, which relies on fat to offset the damage, but the kind of strong enough to rely on the body to resist. No wonder, the earth hammer will make a metal collision sound when it hits it. Previously, she saw that the red zombie not only did not get fat, but became thinner than before, so she thought that the red zombie's body was not a strong point. Now it seems that he is another difficult guy to deal with. Finally, there is the still unknown weapon. She just took a look at the red zombie's feet and did not find super long toenails, so what the weapon is still unknown. A mere level 1 zombie can resist and fight. No wonder it can suppress other level 1 zombies and dare not resist at all. At this time, the red zombie seemed to have observed enough, half crouched again, and flew over from the table the next second, still attacking in the same way. Wang Qiushui turned her body to one side, holding the hammer handle with both hands, like a golf swing, preparing to accumulate strength to hit the red zombie hard. She wanted to see how tough the red zombie was, and how many hammers she could take. The distance between the two sides was getting closer and closer, and they could even see each other's ferocious expressions. Wang Qiushui was still accumulating strength, and this time she was going to hit the red zombie on the waist. If she could break the red zombie's waist, it would be much easier to deal with. The red zombie was too short, only a little over 1.5 meters tall, a real yodel, so even if she stretched out her hands at this time, she couldn't attack her. Seeing that it was almost time, Wang Qiushui was about to swing the earth hammer. At this time, her heart tightened for no reason, as if something terrible was going to happen. She didn't think much and stopped the offensive directly and took 2 steps back, slightly pulling away. And the next second, the red zombie's hand suddenly grew 50 centimeters, looking like it had appeared out of thin air. The front part was glowing faintly, and it looked particularly dangerous. If Wang Qiushui hadn't retreated just now, she would have been poked by now. Even with the protection of the dark skirt, it was estimated that she would not be able to get away with it. If the red zombie poked a few more times in the same place, it would probably not be difficult to make a hole. Although Wang Qiushui pulled away in time, she did not get rid of the current predicament. She just discovered the hidden weapon of the red zombie first. Because the red zombie was rushing straight towards Wang Qiushui, it would not stop, and without any external force, it would not stop. At this time, the red zombie's hands were still poking at Wang Qiushui, and it was about to poke her. Even if it was different from the predetermined attack distance, the attack power was only a little smaller at most, and the difference was not big. In a critical situation, Wang Qiushui lay down directly backwards. She originally wanted to do a beautiful iron bridge to avoid this attack, just like the ones often seen in movies. However, Wending's original body could not do this. Moreover, he didn't know if Wang Qiushui's body was flexible enough. If he broke Wang Qiushui's waist, it would be a big trouble. So, he finally chose to lie down. Although it was not beautiful, at least he could escape. Wang Qiushui lay on the ground, pressing on the documents, and making a click sound. The next second, she saw the red zombie flying over from above. At this time, she saw that the extra part of the red zombie's hand was not a weapon like a hidden blade, but a nail. However, such a long nail is scary enough, especially it is so sharp, and can shrink at any time. If you don't know it before, it is really hard to defend. Then, there was a bang sound from the direction where the red zombie flew out. Wang Qiushui quickly stood up from the ground and picked up the hammer of the earth. The whole body of the red zombie was parallel to the ground, and the 50 centimeter long nails were directly immersed in the wall. The next second, the red zombie stepped on the wall and pulled out her nails. The nails shrank and shortened at the moment of pulling them out, returning to their original shape. Then, she jumped onto the table next to her and stared at Wang Qiushui. Wang Qiushui looked at the 10 extra holes on the wall and couldn't help but secretly smack her lips. With such sharp and hard nails, it's no wonder that those level 1 zombies didn't dare to resist, and they were wiped out in the end. 10 holes were made with just 1 poke. Who can withstand it? Chapter 64, Running Away Again. The two were not far from each other at this time, but neither of them took the initiative to attack. Obviously they both felt that the other was very difficult to deal with. Wang Qiushui glanced at the red zombie and then secretly calculated the time in her mind. It has taken a lot of time, but she only knew the general characteristics of the red zombie and actually did not cause any harm. If she wants to completely get rid of the red zombie, it will probably take a lot of time. And she just doesn't have much time now. If she delays any longer, the transformation will be over. However, she didn't show any anxious expression on her face. Once the red zombie notices something, it will definitely entangle her. However, she soon began to suspect that the red zombie was delaying time, because the red zombie did not come up to attack. Moreover, she used to fight for a while and then run away, so it was not surprising that the red zombie had guessed something. So, she decided to strike first and test the red zombie first. Wang Qiushui took long steps, swung the hammer of the earth, and rushed directly towards the red zombie, with a posture of fighting to the death. Seeing Wang Qiushui rushing over, the red zombie retreated instead of advancing, jumped to the side, and jumped several times, pulling away for a long distance. Wang Qiushui felt cold in her heart. The red zombie was indeed stalling for time, waiting for her transformation to end. Maybe the red zombie didn't know what would happen when she finished her transformation, but he had guessed that it would definitely not be a good thing for her. However, Wang Qiushui showed a mocking smile at the corner of her mouth. Then, she stopped chasing and rushed out of the door. In fact, she had already planned that if the red zombie didn't retreat, she would retreat towards the door while fighting. If the red zombie retreated, she would retreat directly without any hesitation. The red zombie was stunned for a moment, then squatted and jumped, rushing over like a cannonball. Wang Qiushui didn't care about so much at this time. After rushing out of the door, she jumped directly, and with a bang, she jumped over so many stairs, and landed on the stair-rest platform. Fortunately, her body was a zombie's body, so she was fine. If an ordinary person jumped down like this, it would be very likely to break a bone or something. Then, she saw the red zombie hit the wall with his head, leaving spider web-like cracks on the wall, and a loud bang sounded. She didn't dare to imagine what the consequences would be if she didn't jump down immediately. She shook her head, took 2 steps, and then jumped again, and jumped to the 2nd floor. Then she kept jumping. After all, walking up the stairs was too slow. If she was entangled by the red zombie, it would be over. It wasn't until she successfully escaped from the factory gate that the red zombie chased her to the 1st floor. However, she did not come out, but looked up in the direction of the high-speed rail, then shrank back, and disappeared into the darkness. Wang Qiushui also looked up at the high-speed rail, but found nothing. She shook her head, and ran back quickly. If the red-closed zombies found that she had turned back into a human, it was hard to say whether they would chase her out and kill her before going back. After Wang Qiushui woke up, her cheeks were slightly red, and her consciousness was still stuck in that moment. However, seeing that he was in deep thought, she quickly asked, "How is it? How is the red zombie?" He shook his head. "The red zombie is too tricky. Its nails can grow longer and be used as a weapon. Its body is as hard as iron, and its legs have extremely strong jumping power." Wang Qiushui was stunned for a moment. "Didn't we say we were going to be the fisherman? It turned out to be a wasted trip. According to you, she killed those level 1 zombies without any harm." He smiled. "It's not a wasted trip. At least she killed a level 1 zombie, which can be considered as picking up a head." However, the red zombie did not show any signs of injury. In fact, it is normal. Her body is so hard, it is not so easy to hurt her. Wang Qiushui sighed. "Then there is no way. By the way, did you see that living person?" He shook his head. "I forgot to use the scan just now, so I didn't see that living person. But now that you mention it, I suspect that the living person may be hiding in the boss's office." Wang Qiushui quickly asked, "Why?" He recalled, "Because when I went up to the 3rd floor, I saw the red closed zombie sitting in her previous position. At first I thought she was nostalgic, but now think about it, her position is next to the boss's office. So, there may be living people in the office, and she is guarding or blocking the living people inside." Wang Qiushui clapped his hands. "I figured it out. No matter what her purpose is, she definitely doesn't want others to sabotage it. Then we have to do the opposite, and pretend to sabotage it, and then see how she reacts. If she comes up to attack us, then we will fight her head on. I don't believe that I can't beat her with such good equipment." He sighed. "It seems that this is the only way for now. It's a pity that there is no way to get the zombies on the high-speed rail down. She chased you to the 1st floor just now, and finally took a look at the high-speed rail and hid back. So, there must be a more powerful existence than her on the high-speed rail." Wang Qiushui shook his head repeatedly. "If such a being comes down, I guess we can't escape. By the way, do you think there will be level 2 or 3 zombies up there?" He thought for a while. "It's hard to say. After all, there are too many people on one high-speed train. Anyway, there will definitely be level 2 zombies, as can be seen from the performance of the red zombie. But as for level 3, it's possible that we'll be the one who wins the chicken dinner in the end." Wang Qiushui thought for a while. "Then I still hope that there won't be level 3 zombies up there. Level 1 zombies like the red zombies are so difficult to deal with, and I can't imagine how scary level 3 zombies will be. Besides, even if we want to escape, we don't know where to escape to." He smiled. "Don't worry, as long as we upgrade fast enough, let alone level 3, even higher levels are our experience. And in this doomsday, the thing that is least lacking is zombies. It can be said that experience points are everywhere, just waiting for us to pick them up." Wang Qiushui looked at his smile and nodded. "Well, we will definitely survive this doomsday. When our level is high, we won't have to worry about those zombies coming to us. When the time comes, if we don't like any of them, we can just beat them up and turn them into experience points." He also nodded. Chapter 65 Half a Corpse. After Wang Qiushui had rested, she set out again. Since she had not been attacked before, the dark skirt did not need to be repaired, and there was no need for such embarrassing things to happen again. After entering the factory smoothly, Wang Qiushui prepared to go upstairs. However, as soon as she took a step, she remembered that she had just come down from the right staircase, and the red-clothed zombie also came down from there and disappeared there. If the red-clothed zombie was still ambushing her there, she would suffer a great loss. So, she changed direction and walked towards the stairs on the left. As for scanning, she felt that it was too disadvantageous to open the scan just for that one zombie. Moreover, even if the red-clothed zombie attacked her by surprise, it might not be able to do anything to her. She walked upstairs quickly along the stairs. Time is life, and she must hurry up. She went up all the way to the 3rd floor without being attacked by surprise. She walked through a long corridor and returned to the office on the 3rd floor from another door. Sure enough, she saw the red-clothed zombie sitting in the original position, and the boss's office was closed, but she could not see clearly whether there was anyone inside. The red zombie also saw her and immediately jumped onto the table, ready to fly over at any time. She snorted coldly, then walked towards the red zombie with her long legs. As the distance between the two sides got closer and closer, the boss's office became clearer and clearer in her eyes. The boss's office was made of a large piece of transparent glass sliding door, so both inside and outside could be seen. At this time, Wang Qiushui saw that the glass door was supported by several heavy desks. Therefore, the only living person was very likely inside. However, it was not known whether the red zombie was guarding or had other intentions. Because, based on the ability of the red zombie to smash the wall just now, it was very easy to break such a piece of glass. But that living person was able to survive in the factory full of zombies for so long that there was no sign of being hid on the glass. Except for the lack of supplies inside, it was considered very safe. At this time, Wang Qiushui's pupils shrank slightly, because she saw a black mark outside the glass door. Inside the glass door, you can see a corpse with only the upper body. The broken part of the corpse is irregular in shape, with both hands stretched forward, struggling. The clothes on the corpse are very similar to those worn by the boss lady in the past. However, the corpse was lying on the ground, and the face could not be seen, so it was not certain. Judging from the state of the corpse and the bloodstains on the outside, it is obvious that a person suspected to be the boss lady did not have time to escape in, so she was caught by the glass door, and finally the zombies ate her lower body alive, leaving so many bloodstains. Of course, it is also possible that the person inside was eager to close the door, so this person was caught and watched this person being eaten alive by zombies. In the end, the person inside was also trapped. Wang Qiushui took another look at the red-clothed zombie. This red-clothed zombie seemed to be the boss lady's sister, so she could get such a good job as a purchaser in a small factory. So, the red-clothed zombie is guarding here, not to protect the people inside, but to trap the people inside to death and avenge the boss lady? Although Wang Qiushui was not sure that this guess was correct, she felt that it was very likely. If that was the case, she could just try the method she had just thought of. She continued to walk forward, while intentionally or unintentionally swinging the hammer of the earth to hit the things next to her, making a noise. If the red-clothed zombie did not come forward to stop her, she would smash the glass door with the hammer later. She wanted to see who was inside. Sure enough, seeing her approaching, the red-clothed zombie could not help but jump over directly. However, perhaps considering the previous mistake, or worried that Wang Qiushui would succeed if he was too far away, this time, the red-clothed zombie did not fly over directly like before, but landed directly in front of Wang Qiushui. Wang Qiushui swung the hammer of the earth directly, regardless of whether it could hit it or not, and hit it first. The red-clothed zombie did not even look at it, and directly blocked it with his hands in front of him. The two collided, making a clang sound, and they both took a step back. After Wang Qiushui stood still, she rushed forward again, raising the hammer of the earth high, ready to do a sledgehammer version of splitting Huashan Mountain. Since the red zombie was too short, it saved her a lot of effort. She didn't have to jump up and just smashed it directly. The red zombie was naturally not stupid enough to stand there and get beaten. He wanted to dodge as soon as his legs moved. However, she glanced at the side and actually didn't dodge. She raised her hands high above her head, ready to take the blow. There was another clang sound, and the sound was even louder. However, this powerful hammer was actually taken by the red zombie. At the same time, there was a slight rustling sound in the office, and it seemed that there was indeed someone inside. Maybe the people inside were waiting for them to lose both of them, so that they could escape. Wang Qiushui kept pressing down with both hands. As long as she could press the red zombie to the ground for a second, she could directly launch the subsequent continuous attacks, and prevent the red zombie from getting up again. The red zombie raised his hands high, pushed his feet against the ground, and supported himself tightly. The two were in a stalemate. Wang Qiushui didn't expect that the red zombie was so strong that he could compete with her. However, this was the most critical moment, so she naturally would not give up. She gritted her teeth and used all her strength. The next second, the red zombie's feet slipped and made a squeak. Then, the whole thing was directly pressed down by Wang Qiushui and slid out and hit the wall. Wang Qiushui sighed inwardly that it was a pity. If the tiles were not too slippery, she might have been able to press the red zombie to the ground just now, and how could the other party escape? However, this was a good opportunity to pursue the victory. She rushed forward with the hammer of the earth. After the red zombie hit the wall, he kept his head down. Hearing Wang Qiushui's footsteps, she suddenly raised her head, and a red light flashed in her scalded eyes. The next second, the red zombie jumped up on the spot, and then kicked the wall with its legs like a frog, leaving cracks on the wall. With this kick, the red zombie flew towards Wang Qiushui, and her long nails stretched out, with a black metallic luster in front of her nails. Wang Qiushui wanted to lie down on the spot, like she did just now, to avoid the attack. But she soon found that the red zombie was too fast, and she couldn't avoid it, even if she lay down. Chapter 66. Feint to the east and attack in the west. It was more likely that the red zombie's nails had already poked her, just as she lay down. It would be too late to hit her with the earth hammer, and no matter how fast she swung the hammer, it could not be faster than the red zombie's cannonball-like speed. So, she directly held the upper and lower sides of the earth hammer with both hands, blocking the attack path of the red zombie in front of her. In this way, the red zombie's nails would only attack the earth hammer, and would not cause much damage to her. Sure enough, the next second, the earth hammer collided with the nails, making a crisping sound. Wang Qiushui only felt a huge force coming from the earth hammer, and then the whole person flew backwards and slid for a long distance before stopping. During this time, the red zombie attacked again, obviously not wanting to give Wang Qiushui a chance to rest. The nails, like sharp blades, pierced Wang Qiushui directly, and there was a cold light flashing on them. Wang Qiushui had just stood still at this time, and had no time to react. She could only watch the nails pierce in. A trace of pride flashed in the eyes of the red zombie, and it was obvious that Wang Qiushui would die. As a result, the nails directly pierced into Wang Qiushui's dark skirt, but could no longer penetrate. The originally very soft fabric played an unexpected role at this moment, blocking such sharp nails. The red zombie was stunned, and couldn't figure out what was going on. Why didn't the nails, that were always effective, work at this moment? Wang Qiushui wanted to yell, "Are you surprised? Are you surprised?" However, she still didn't say a word, but directly swung the earth hammer at the red zombie's head. This was not intentional aiming, but the red zombie was too short, and the head was just within Wang Qiushui's more convenient attack range. The red zombie suddenly jumped back, and jumped onto a table behind him, dodging the attack. Wang Qiushui secretly thought it was a pity. As expected, this red zombie was not so easy to deal with. She moved her arms and legs, then rushed forward again. The hammer of the earth smashed down hard, and with a bang, the table was smashed into pieces, and the red zombie had already jumped to other places. Wang Qiushui shook her head. This red zombie was like a flea, and it was resistant to beatings. It was much more difficult to deal with than the suit zombie that had increased its speed before. However, she didn't think much about it, and chased after it again. Soon, all the tables in the office were smashed to pieces, leaving only the table owned by the red zombie. There were several obvious scratches on Wang Qiushui's dark skirt, but it didn't hurt her. At this time, the red zombie was standing on it, and looking down at Wang Qiushui. Wang Qiushui swung the hammer of the earth again and rushed over. She wanted to see where the red zombie would jump to without the table. But this time, the red zombie didn't hide again, but rushed straight to Wang Qiushui. With a bang, the hammer of the earth hit the hands of the red zombie on his head again, and the scene froze. The red zombie did not repeat the same mistake, and exerted force suddenly, pushing Wang Qiushui back with the hammer. Then, her nails stabbed Wang Qiushui directly. Wang Qiushui's pupils shrank instantly, because the red zombie's nails did not attack other places, but the scratches left before. That is to say, the red zombie may have guessed it, or simply wanted to try it. However, no matter which point, it is not good for Wang Qiushui. Because the red zombie is likely to discover the clues of the dark skirt, and then keep attacking the same place, until it can break the defense. Wang Qiushui pushed the hammer of the earth against the wall next to him, twisted his body with the reaction force from the hammer, and avoided the attack of the red zombie. The red zombie did not succeed in the attack, and immediately jumped to the side without hesitation. Wang Qiushui secretly breathed a sigh of relief. It was a close call. However, she soon discovered that the red-clothed zombie was some distance away from the boss office, even farther than the distance from her to the boss office. So, without thinking, she ran straight to the boss office. The red-clothed zombie looked at Wang Qiushui's movements and subconsciously squatted down, ready to avoid Wang Qiushui's attack. The next second, when she found that Wang Qiushui's target was not her, but the boss office, she showed a bit of panic in her movements, and then quickly jumped towards the boss office. At this time, Wang Qiushui was almost in front of the boss office. In fact, this was just her feint, and she had been quietly paying attention to the movements of the red-clothed zombie. As expected, the red-clothed zombie really came over. So, Wang Qiushui suddenly braked and stopped, and at the same time, he raised his strength from the ground, turned his waist, and twisted his hips, and in one go, the hammer of the earth also smashed out. With a loud bang, the hammer of the earth hit the waist of the red zombie, knocking the red zombie out, and hitting the wall directly, causing a large spider web-like crack. Then, the red zombie fell to the ground, supporting himself with his hands, and was about to get up. However, Wang Qiushui's attack had already followed, hitting the red zombie's waist again. There was no way. Time was not enough. If she hit the head, she would definitely not be able to kill him in one go, so she could only try her best to break the waist of the red zombie first, so that she could at least save some energy the next time she came. Hammer after hammer, making a continuous dang-dang sound. It sounded like a blacksmith forging iron. When she was almost done, Wang Qiushui stopped, and then ran out without even looking at the red zombie. She had to go back quickly. Walking back all the way, Wang Qiushui held the hammer of the earth in one hand, and moved the other hand at the same time. This zombie in red was the toughest one she had ever encountered. After being hit so hard, her hands were numb. Fortunately, all her efforts paid off. When she left, the red zombie's waist was broken, and his upper and lower bodies were in an uncoordinated shape. It could be said that his lower body was paralyzed, and black liquid was constantly spitting out of his mouth. She only needed to transform once more, to completely get rid of the red zombie. Suddenly, she was in a good mood. When they returned to the building, Wang Qiushui, who had just woken up, asked hurriedly, "What happened?" He smiled and nodded. "Your method is indeed effective. When I ran to the boss's office, she really panicked, and then I took the opportunity to give her a hammer, and then another combo. She couldn't make any big waves. But when did you become so smart?" Wang Qiushui turned his head away. I won't tell you. Chapter 67 Zombies and Humans. After Wang Qiushui had a good rest, she set out again. This time she was going to reap the fruits of victory, so she felt a lot more relaxed. Even if there were other ordinary zombies in the factory, there was no need to worry that they would eat the red-clothed zombie. With the red-clothed zombie's skin as hard as iron, it would take a very good tooth to bite it, not to mention eating it all. Wang Qiushui walked all the way to the third floor of the factory, but found that the red-clothed zombie was no longer there. She panicked for a moment, thinking that the red-clothed zombie had run away. If he came back and said don't bully the poor young man, she would not be able to bear it. However, she looked closely and found a trail of black liquid on the ground. The black liquid had not dried yet, and it was obviously left by the red-clothed zombie. She followed the black liquid forward, but was surprised to find that the black liquid actually extended in the direction of the boss's office. The glass of the boss's office had been broken at this time, and the ground was full of broken glass shards. She walked in directly with the hammer of the earth. She wanted to see what the red zombie wanted to do by entering the boss's office at this time. Was it to protect the people inside? Or did he want to kill the people inside at the last minute? As she approached the office, Wang Qiushui heard a man crying inside, "Don't come over, ah." Then there was a flustered sound of footsteps. Wending was very familiar with this male voice. It was the boss of this factory. The boss was hiding in the office to survive. No, it should be said that he was blocked in there by the red zombie. The boss's wife was eaten by the zombies, leaving only half of her body. You can imagine how painful the process was. So, after the red zombie became a zombie, he wanted to avenge his sister and starve the boss to death. After knowing that he would not live long, he wanted to take the initiative. Wang Qiushui shook his head and walked in. In a corner of the office, a man squatted on the ground, with his back against the wall, squeezing back hard, wishing that his whole body could squeeze into the wall. In his hand, he was holding a folder and slapping it desperately. In front of him, the red closed zombie was dragging its body, approaching him little by little, and the nails on its hands were directly stretched out. Every time the folder hit the nails, it would be cut directly, and it was almost in strips at this time. Hearing the footsteps, the boss quickly raised his head, but he saw the same pair of red eyes, and cried even harder, "Help." The red closed zombie seemed to know that Wang Qiushui was coming, and his movements became more intense, but more black liquid sprayed out of his mouth. Wang Qiushui shook her head. She didn't have time to wait here for the red closed zombie to kill the boss. So she walked forward and smashed the red closed zombie on the head with a hammer. The red closed zombie looked at Wang Qiushui unwillingly, and at the same time, stretched his hand straight forward. This posture was exactly the same as the dead boss's body. Wang Qiushui sighed softly, and then hammered again, and then hammered one hammer after another, smashing it hard, as if venting. This doomsday turned people into zombies. But how many people are worse than zombies? Seeing Wang Qiushui's fierceness, the boss was so scared that he dared not speak, for fear that he would attract Wang Qiushui's attention and give him a hammer. Wang Qiushui stopped, only after receiving the system's killing prompt. Unfortunately, the red closed zombie was indeed level 1, so it could not extract abilities, and the experience value was only 10 points. At this time, the head of the red closed zombie had turned into sauce. Wang Qiushui glanced at the red closed zombie, then at the boss, and walked out directly. She didn't want to avenge the boss's wife, and she didn't want to dirty her earth hammer. Anyway, in this doomsday, the boss would definitely not live long, and he might be eaten by zombies as soon as he ran out of the factory gate. Then, she began to look for the water purifier. Although asking the boss was a simpler method, she didn't want to reveal her identity. If people knew that there was a zombie who could talk, it would be a big trouble. What's more, she didn't want others to hear Wang Qiushui's voice and recognize her. In that case, wouldn't this mosaic be in vain? She walked along the way, searching all the way, searching layer by layer. However, except for the boss, there was indeed no zombie in the factory. At this time, she happened to come to the first floor, and suddenly felt a prying gaze. She looked up, and looked at the high-speed rail in the distance. The glass of the high-speed rail was full of black liquid, so it was not clear. However, she saw a pair of red eyes, and the red eyes were also looking at her. Then, the eyes disappeared. Just this one glance, Wang Qiushui's hands began to tremble uncontrollably, and even Wending's body was the same. Wang Qiushui quickly found a place to hide, just like the red zombie before, hiding in the dark. And Wending's body quickly ran towards the factory, his body trembling as he ran. He was sure that it must be a level 2 zombie, or even a level 3 zombie. Only zombies above level 2 would be so terrifying that even a level 1 zombie like Wang Qiushui would be afraid. This is a suppression from the level, just like ordinary zombies are afraid of Wang Qiushui. Therefore, Wang Qiushui will naturally be afraid of zombies of higher levels. Not to mention ordinary people like him. His hands are now like an old man with Parkinson's disease, shaking non-stop, and can't stop at all. After climbing over the factory gate with difficulty, he ran directly to where Wang Qiushui was. After arriving, he directly cancelled Wang Qiushui's transformation. Although he guessed that the zombies on the high-speed train would not come down, it was better to be careful. And now cancelling the transformation can save some physical strength to deal with possible situations. Wang Qiushui woke up slowly, opened his eyes, and saw that his hands were shaking non-stop. His face immediately turned red, and he spat at the same time. Damn hooligan. He immediately reacted, feeling wronged in his heart, and quickly said, I didn't. Wang Qiushui saw that he still didn't admit it, pointed at his hand and said, you didn't, then why are your hands shaking all the time? Just now, weren't you like this? The more she said, the redder her face became. However, she realized at this moment that her hands were also shaking, but not as badly as his. She couldn't help but ask, what's going on? Did you use too much force just now? He then told her what happened just now. Wang Qiushui was surprised and scared. Just a glance and it's like this. What if he comes down? He shook his head. Let's talk about it when he comes down. Chapter 68 Murder. Seeing that he was so single, Wang Qiushui did not think much about it and sat down beside him to rest. Since they could not escape anyway, they might as well have a good rest. At worst, they could die together, and at least he would be their companion. Thinking of death, she asked again, by the way, is that living person in the boss's office? Is that zombie in red dead? He nodded. That living person is indeed trapped inside, and the zombie in red is also dead. Wang Qiushui heard that. These were not the answers she wanted to know. So she asked again, what about that living person? How is he? We spent a lot of effort to rescue him. He should at least say thank you to us. He sneered. I should have known that I should not have come here. Let him starve to death here. Wang Qiushui was stunned. What happened? He then told her what he saw and guessed. Wang Qiushui was silent for a while before he said, the boss lady must have been very desperate at that time. Her husband had abandoned her and hid away, and even watched her being eaten to death. But the zombie in red was quite humane. Even after becoming a zombie, he did not forget to avenge his sister. He sighed and did not respond. The two of them rested here until they recovered their strength and stood up. The only good news was that there was no movement on the high-speed train, and they did not hear the sound of heavy objects falling. The zombie did not seem to intend to come down to trouble them, which made them feel relieved. After walking around the first floor, the two of them finally found the water purifier. However, he was worried about the water purifier. It was not easy to get it back. The water purifier was plug-in, and it was about 1 person tall, and it was connected to some water pipes. Anyway, it looked very complicated. It would take a lot of effort to disassemble it completely. In addition, it was so large that it would definitely not be light, and 1 person might not be able to move it. At this time, the system spoke. When this system transforms the water purifier, it can be transformed into what the host needs. He asked suspiciously, is this free or charged? The system must have no good intentions at this time, so it is better to ask clearly. System, free. After all, the host must transform it into a solar-powered one, so this time a total of 30 experience points will be charged, and the rest will be considered as a gift from the system. His heart was beating. It would be fine if the system didn't mention it, but he felt uncomfortable when it was mentioned 30 experience points. How long would it take to kill zombies to accumulate? And it was gone in an instant. No wonder the system was so generous this time. It must have made a lot of money. He gritted his teeth and said, transform it, make it smaller for me, about the size of a small cardboard box, and it will be more convenient to carry. System, deduct 30 experience points, and the transformation is completed. The next second, there was a water purifier the size of a cardboard box in front of him, and the original water purifier was gone. Wang Qiushui's face lit up. Is this our water purifier? Did you modify it successfully? He nodded. I think it's so big that it's hard to move back, so I modified it first, so it's easier to move. Wang Qiushui then asked, but I saw you didn't touch the water purifier just now. Can it be successful this way? He was stunned and forgot about this, but he still said calmly, you don't need to touch it to modify it. Wang Qiushui leaned forward and looked at him. Then you have to touch it to repair it, right? He immediately broke out in a cold sweat, and he chuckled twice. Yes, repair and modification are different. Wang Qiushui snorted coldly and didn't pursue it any further. He cursed the system in his heart, almost killing him. At this time, a male voice suddenly came from behind him. Hero and beauty, save me. Wang Qiushui's face showed a look of disgust without disguising. He turned his head to look at the man who was supporting his body with the handrail of the stairs. It was indeed the boss. I didn't expect him to dare to touch it. The boss looked at him and suddenly said, "Aren't you that so-and-so?" He nodded. "Yes, I'm that so-and-so." The boss was stunned for a moment, "Although I can't remember, but as long as you rescue me, I can give you money and let you come back to work in our factory, and I will give you a high salary. What do you think?" Wang Qiushui asked doubtfully, "Didn't you say he is your boss? How come he doesn't even know who you are?" The boss face was a little embarrassed for a moment, but he quickly put on a flattering smile and looked at him. He sneered, "Yeah, I've worked here for so long, and the boss doesn't even remember my name. Isn't that funny? But that's right, we are just workers, dispensable. The boss is busy with all kinds of things, how can he have time to remember our names?" The boss knew it would be bad if he continued to talk, so he quickly said, "It's all a misunderstanding. It's just that I don't have a good memory, plus face blindness." He shook his head and picked up the water purifier. "Let's go." The boss shouted from behind, "I'll give you money, all the money." He smiled. Money is useless in the end times. No matter how much money you have, it's hard to buy food, so keep the money for yourself. Then the two continued to walk out. At this time, the boss suddenly shouted, "If you don't save me, I will tell everyone about your relationship with the zombies." His footsteps stopped, and Wang Qiushui's face was also surprised, not knowing where he was exposed. The boss continued, "The zombie just left, and you appeared here right after. And the zombie was holding a hammer, and you were also holding a hammer, so the zombie must have a connection with you, right? If this matter is known by others, you will definitely not have a good life." After saying this, he snorted twice, looking like he was sure of victory. He put down the water purifier. "You may not know much about this end of the world. Don't you know that human life is even less valuable in the end of the world?" The boss was shocked. "Don't mess around. Killing is illegal." He took out the bone chopping knife from his waist, which he had just taken out to deal with the high-speed train zombies, and he didn't expect it to come in handy. The boss hurried upstairs, but he was so hungry that he was skin and bones, and he relied on the stairs to support himself, and he couldn't walk faster. He looked at Wang Qiushui. "Turn your head first, the scene later will not be very good." Wang Qiushui shook his head. He smiled. "It's up to you." Then, he held the bone chopping knife and swung it forward. The bone chopping knife flew out and stabbed into the boss chest. He walked over slowly and said, "It's my first time using it. I didn't expect my aim to be so good." If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 69, Arson. Blood foamed from the boss' mouth. He held the stair railing with one hand and pointed at Wending with the other hand. You. He didn't expect that what he said just now would not only fail to save his life, but also kill him. At this time, he had already walked in front of the boss, so knowing too much is not a good thing. However, I think you are also starving and say such things. Remember to be smarter in your next life and don't say things that you shouldn't say. Then, he turned to the side and reached out to pull out the bone chopping knife from the boss's chest. Half of the bone chopping knife was inserted into the boss's chest. At the moment it was pulled out, a stream of blood spurted out from the wound. At the same time, the boss also spit out a large mouthful of blood from his mouth, forming a blood mist, which was quite like the style of the piercing intestines in Flirting Scholar. He quickly dodged again. Fortunately, he was prepared just now, otherwise he would definitely be splashed with blood. The boss was lying on the ground spitting blood, but he was still not dead. One hand covered his chest and the other hand pointed weakly at Wending. His eyes were fixed on him, as if he wanted to remember his appearance. At this moment, Wang Qiushui shouted from behind him, "Get out of the way." He quickly dodged, The next second, the hammer of the earth fell on the boss's head, smashing off half of his head, and the man was deader than dead. He was stunned for a moment, and looked at Wang Qiushui. "What are you doing?" Wang Qiushui put away the hammer of the earth and said unhappily, "Killing people. Didn't you want to kill him just now?" He didn't know how to answer for a moment, and after a while he said, "I wanted to kill him, and I stabbed him. He is already dead. Why do you have to dirty your hands?" Wang Qiushui snorted coldly. "Who made him see through my identity just now and threaten us? Besides, such a scum should have died long ago, and it's a waste to let him live so long." He looked at Wang Qiushui helplessly. "Then have you heard that after killing someone, that person will always follow you, and you will see him asking for your life in your dreams? This is what it means. You can't take anything away, only evil will follow you. So, you shouldn't have taken action just now." Wang Qiushui got goosebumps all over her body, and she felt a gust of cold wind all around her. She hurriedly walked closer to him. "Don't scare me," he said unhappily. "How can I have the time to scare you? But it's already killed. There's no use regretting." Wang Qiushui suddenly became more frightened. At this time, he suddenly said, "Wait here for a while. I'll go upstairs to get something." Wang Qiushui hurriedly said, "I'll go with you." He nodded. "Let's go." Then, the two of them went to the boss's office on the third floor. He fumbled for a while, and finally found a lighter. Wang Qiushui asked curiously, "Why are you looking for a lighter? Don't we have a lot of them?" He laughed. "Don't you know that murder and arson are connected? If we only kill people, but don't set fires, wouldn't it show that we are not professional enough?" Wang Qiushui nodded repeatedly and asked again, "Will he not come back to seek revenge if he is burned to ashes?" He shook his head. "He couldn't beat you when he was alive. Are you afraid that he can beat you after he dies? If there are really ghosts in this world, and he dares to come back to find you, you can use the hammer of the earth to teach him a lesson." Wang Qiushui started to think. When he heard it, he took the lighter and started to light the documents, and then put the burning documents in various places. Due to the large number of documents, a raging fire soon began to burn. He and Wang Qiushui hurried downstairs, otherwise they would not be able to escape later. When passing by the boss's body, Wang Qiushui hit the body with 2 more hammers. He couldn't help but ask, "What are you doing?" Wang Qiushui replied, "Anyway, he is coming back to seek revenge on me, so I might as well take advantage of his body not being burned to ashes and hit him a few more times to vent my anger." He pulled Wang Qiushui up and ran out, moving the water purifier on the ground. "By the way, flog the corpse. If you don't leave now, you won't be able to escape." As soon as the two of them walked out of the factory, there was a burst of boom explosions from inside, and thick black smoke floated into the sky. Wang Qiushui asked, "By the way, you haven't told me why you want to burn this place down. Do you want to burn away the bad memories?" He was speechless. "I don't know what you are thinking. There are a lot of corpses here, and the high-speed rail zombies also know about this. It is difficult for us to deal with these corpses, so we should just burn them up, so as not to become food for the high-speed rail zombies, or attract other zombies." Wang Qiushui nodded in sudden realization. The two returned to the building, and wanted to try the effect of the water purifier, but since it was already afternoon and almost evening, there was no sun, so it couldn't be used at all. He couldn't help but curse inwardly. "System, you are unreliable. Solar energy can't be used at night. Oh, and it can't be used on cloudy days. Then why did I spend so much experience points to transform a solar power one? System, it can't be used if it is plugged in. If you don't want to use solar energy, you can transform it into gasoline or diesel. As long as you have experience points, it will be fine." He thought about it. At least solar energy can be used for free. As long as there is sunshine, it can be used without considering other problems. If it is gasoline or something like that, you have to take the trouble to find gasoline. In this end times, gasoline is not easy to find. The most important thing is that, if you want to transform it, you have to deduct experience points, which he can't bear to do. Speaking of experience points, he hasn't had time to calculate the benefits, and he hasn't looked at the panel for a long time. So he said directly, "System, check the panel." The next second, the panel appeared directly in his mind. Host, Lee Wending level. 1 physical condition, weakened uninjured experience. 67 number of zombies, to be killed to advance to the next level. 2 number of assistants. 1 transformation time that can support assistants. 5 minutes, increases with physical fitness, assistant Wang Qiushui level. 1 physical condition, weakened uninjured special skill, head hardening transformation time. 6 minutes, increases with physical fitness, weapon, hammer of the earth armor, skirt of darkness. He nodded. He could upgrade after killing 2 more ordinary zombies. It would be better to upgrade early, otherwise he would not be able to beat the high-speed rail zombie. Moreover, Wang Qiushui's transformation time has reached 6 minutes, but unfortunately his transformation time is still only 5 minutes. It seems that he has to find a way to improve it, otherwise it will hinder Wang Qiushui's performance. However, he touched his chin. System, is your data accurate? Did you embezzle it? System, no. Then it was silent. He had no choice, because the system was responsible for statistics. Chapter 70 Gentlemen and Villains. Then, he started to cook. He didn't have to stay up late tonight, and the threat from the factory next door had been cleared. He also got a water purifier, so he could finally relax. While eating, Wang Qiushui was in a good mood, and he took out the Fat House Happy Water, and poured a glass for each of them. Don't worry, I'm getting stronger, and I can level up, as long as I kill 2 more zombies. Then, even if the high-speed rail zombies come, don't be afraid, I'll protect you. He smiled. Then you must protect me. The 2 of them ate happily, as if what happened in the afternoon had disappeared with the fire. After finishing the meal, he remembered that there were many marks on Wang Qiushui's dark skirt from being poked by the red zombie. So he said, by the way, I have to help you repair the dark skirt. The red zombie's nails are too sharp. If the dark skirt's defense was not strong enough, it might have been scratched by her. Wang Qiushui's face immediately turned red. Ah. Doesn't that mean I have to touch it again? He nodded as a matter of course. Of course. How else can I repair it? The next second, he reacted and couldn't help but slap his forehead. My brain was almost misled by you. You go change the dark skirt, and I will repair it, right? Wang Qiushui said and went to change clothes. Soon she took out the dark skirt with a red face. It seemed that she also felt embarrassed just now. He took the dark skirt and sighed secretly in his heart, my experience, and then said, System, repair the dark skirt. At the same time, his hand gently stroked the dark skirt. System, ding, repair completed, 2 experience points deducted. His blood pressure immediately rose. Wait a minute, wasn't it only 1 point deducted last time? Why 2 points this time? System, this is determined by the degree of damage. The more serious the damage, the more will be deducted. He nodded. Then why didn't you ask me to repair the hammer of the earth? The hammer of the earth has been used for so long, it should be damaged, right? System, although the hammer of the earth has slight damage, it does not affect its use. Of course, if the host wants to repair it, it is also possible. Please pay 2 experience points. He was angry. Forget it, no need to repair it. But soon, he remembered what the system said in the afternoon, that by modifying the water purifier, he could get a brand new water purifier. So he asked again, System, if I upgrade my weapon, will all the damage be repaired at the same time? System, yes, every upgrade will repair all the damage of the weapon, and the host will get a brand new weapon. He nodded. Then the next time my dark skirt is damaged, can I upgrade it directly? System, no, the dark skirt has been upgraded twice. The next upgrade requires the host and the assistant to reach level 2. He was speechless. This system was too smart. It blocked his way. At this time, Wang Qiushui, who was standing aside, looked at him in a daze and asked, are you okay? He shook his head and returned the dark skirt. It has been repaired. Take a look. Wang Qiushui looked carefully and found that the scratches on it were gone. The whole skirt looked like a brand new one. She nodded happily. Well, it would be great if all my clothes could be like this, never torn or old. He smiled bitterly. There will be a chance. If that were the case, no matter how much experience he had, it would not be enough. Then, it was getting late, so the two went to rest. He sat on the mat and stretched. I can finally have a good sleep today. Wang Qiushui suddenly sat up from the bed and looked at him. Did you eat enough tonight? He didn't understand, but still answered, I'm full. Are you still hungry? If you are hungry, then find some snacks. Wang Qiushui didn't answer him and asked again, are you cold now? He looked at the quilt on his body. Not cold. My quilt is very warm. Wang Qiushui hesitated for a moment and asked hesitantly, then you won't do anything out of the ordinary at night? He was puzzled. What? Wang Qiushui said in one breath, didn't you say something last time? When you are full and warm, you will think about sex. He was stunned for a moment and suddenly laughed. You are right. I almost forgot. If you didn't say it, then you should be careful tonight. Even if the boss doesn't look for you, I will look for you. Wang Qiushui patted the hammer of the earth placed beside the bed at this time. I'm not afraid of anyone who comes. He suddenly realized, no wonder you took the hammer of the earth there today. It turned out that you were on guard against me. I'm so wronged. I'm a gentleman. Wang Qiushui smiled and said, I'm on guard against villains, not gentlemen. He couldn't help but touch his chin. Why did he feel that this sentence had another meaning? But he thought about it and didn't ask. Wang Qiushui lay back down. Good night. He also said, good night. In the middle of the night, he was suddenly awakened by a strong shake. As soon as he opened his eyes, he saw a head above him with loose hair, and he was so scared that he kept hiding to the side. At this time, someone on the other end spoke, are you okay? He was relieved when he heard it. I'm fine, but you? Why are you here in the middle of the night instead of sleeping? The voice was Wang Qiushui, and she replied, you kept yelling, and I was woken up by you, so I came to see if you were okay. He only realized that he was sweating, but he still shook his head. I'm fine. Wang Qiushui asked again, are you really okay? Did you have a nightmare? He didn't say anything. Wang Qiushui then asked, did you dream that your boss came back to take your life? He was still silent. Wang Qiushui suddenly laughed out loud. He couldn't help but look at Wang Qiushui and began to wonder if he was still in a nightmare and it was a dream within a dream. The next moment, Wang Qiushui would shout at him, give me back my life. Wang Qiushui laughed for a long time before stopping. In the afternoon, you scared me. In the end, I didn't dream about anything, but you had a nightmare. But this also proves that what you said is true. He said helplessly, I haven't killed anyone. Isn't this normal? But you, maybe you are too careless, so nothing happened. Wang Qiushui patted the mat at this time. Come on, since you can't sleep now, I'll chat with you. He sat over, and the two began to chat about everything. However, as they chatted, he was the only one talking. He turned his head and saw that Wang Qiushui had fallen asleep on his shoulder without knowing when. Chapter 71 The system is a profiteer. The next morning, when Wang Qiushui woke up, she found herself lying on the bed. She sat up and stretched, then asked, I remember we were chatting last night. When did we go to bed? He smiled. How dare you say that? I fell asleep while chatting, and then I had to carry you back to bed. Wang Qiushui blushed and asked again, did you have nightmares afterwards? He shook his head. Thanks to you chatting with me for a while, I slept soundly afterwards. Wang Qiushui nodded. Then I'm relieved. I was too tired yesterday, so I fell asleep. He brought out breakfast. Well, wash up first, and then have breakfast. Wang Qiushui got up from the bed and went to wash up. After finishing breakfast, Wang Qiushui asked, what should we do today? Should we go kill zombies and reach level 2 as soon as possible? He waved his hand. No hurry, there are only 2 zombies. It's just a matter of 2 hammers. Let's try the water purifier today and get some water first. Wang Qiushui looked at the little water left in the kitchen. Okay, it happens that the sun is shining brightly today, but I don't know if the water purifier can do it well and whether the power is high enough. The two of them went downstairs with buckets. When they came back yesterday, they put the water purifier on the 2nd floor, together with the water, so there was no need to move it back and forth. When they opened the door of the water storage room, they felt their breathing paused. The air in this closed room was too turbid, and it made people feel uncomfortable. As soon as the door was opened, Wang Qiushui covered his nose and felt a little better. He said in a dull voice, "Why didn't you open the window before? It's so stuffy." He also covered his nose. "If I open the window, I'm afraid something else will come in and pollute the water. For example, if a bug or cockroach falls in, then even if it is purified by the water purifier, can you still drink it?" Wang Qiushui waved his hand. "Don't say it. It's disgusting to think about it. But now it seems very clean. There is not even a shadow of cockroaches." He moved the water purifier and the bucket in. "Yes, it's too clean." Looking at the clean floor, he couldn't help but think of his previous guess. It seems that cockroaches can't escape. Wang Qiushui walked over and opened the window. "Now that we are watching, ventilate it and breathe it in. It should be fine." He didn't say anything, but looked at the water purifier. Speaking of which, after the system modification, he hasn't checked the properties of this water purifier. I don't know if it has any functions. The system popped up at the right time. Since the water purifier is not a weapon item, it will not appear in the host panel. If the host wants to check the properties, just put your hand on the water purifier. He put his hand on the water purifier as he was told, and a water purifier panel really appeared in front of him. Introduction to the super invincible water purifier. No matter what kind of water it is, no matter what viruses and bacteria are in the water, it can all be purified to the level of direct drinking water. It is definitely a must-have choice for home travel and doomsday survival. Water that can be purified each time. 2L time required for each purification. 5 minutes energy. Solar energy suggested retail price. 20 experience points. He nodded. 2L of water is just the amount of a fat otaku's happy water. Although it is a little less, it will be fine after a few more times. And it doesn't take a long time, it only takes 5 minutes. However, when he saw the final suggested retail price, he was not calm at all. He gritted his teeth and said, "System, come out and tell me, what's the matter with this suggested retail price? I remember you wrote 100 experience points in the mall, and I spent 30 experience points to modify the old one." System, well, you know, the end of the world is coming, and the economy is in recession, so of course the middlemen have to make a profit. He didn't know what the system meant by this illogical words, and he said directly, "Come on, system, stick your head over here, I'll give you a buff." Soon, he shook his head again. "No, I'm so mad at you, give me back my hard-earned money." The system said carefully, "Well, how can I let the duck in my mouth fly away? No, how can I spit out the money in my mouth?" He said angrily, "What did you say?" The system quickly said, "No, what I mean is that I can upgrade your water purifier to make it more convenient to use. Don't worry, it's free this time, no money is charged." He snorted coldly. "Isn't the water purifier used to purify water? What's the difference if it is upgraded?" As for the experience points that were cheated by the system, he knew that he could not get them back, so he had to find a way to get more benefits. The system chuckled. "You will know when you take another look." He put his hand on the water purifier, and the panel of the water purifier appeared in front of him again. Super Invincible Water Purifier 2.0 Introduction. Brief. Can reach the level of mountain spring water. Water that can be purified each time. 4L time required for each purification. 1 minute energy. Solar energy. Energy storage. Suggested retail price. 30 experience points. He nodded. From directly drinking water to mountain spring water, the water capacity that can be purified doubled. The time was reduced to 1 minute, and the efficiency was greatly improved. And the recommended retail price also reached 30 experience points, which is not a loss. However, he still asked, "What does this energy storage mean?" System, the previous water purifier needed you to put it in the sun and absorb solar energy before it could be used, so it couldn't be used at night. But now it can be placed in the sun to charge, and it can be used during the day and night, cloudy and rainy days. The most important thing is how long you charge it, how long you can use it. He nodded in appreciation. Then this is still very cost effective, and it can be used for a long time after a single charge. System, it's okay, I'm leaving first. He hurriedly shouted, "Wait, in addition to upgrading the water purifier, can it be upgraded?" System, everything can be upgraded, but the price of this upgrade, he interrupted directly. I suggest you think it over carefully before you talk. System, I will definitely give you the best price. He waved his hand. It's okay, you can leave. At this time, Wang Qiushui came back. How is it? Is this water purifier usable? He moved the water purifier to the windowsill. It can be used, but it needs to be exposed to the sun for a while to charge. Wang Qiushui also followed him out, looking at the lush green plants outside and sighed. All the people and zombies are dead. It feels so quiet, as if there are only 2 of us left in the world. Hearing this, his face changed. Wang Qiushui asked quickly, what's wrong? He sighed. The quietness you just mentioned reminded me that it seems that I haven't heard the sound of birds since the end of the world. Wang Qiushui was immediately shocked. It's true. Chapter 72 asked water treatment. Since neither of them saw it with their own eyes, they could not know whether the birds were extinct or had mutated and turned into zombies. After waiting for a while, he felt that it was enough, so he took the water purifier back to see how effective it was. This water purifier is square and looks similar to an oven. The difference is that it is open from the top. You can pour water into it by simply opening the lid, and there is an induction faucet on the side for water discharge. He lifted the plastic film outside a basin and saw that the water in the basin was black and exuded a faint stench. Wang Qiushui reacted immediately and almost retched. This smell was very familiar to the 2 of them. It was the smell of the black liquid that came out of the zombies. It seems that the black liquid also contains the zombie virus. Fortunately, they did not drink the water directly at the beginning, otherwise they would have turned into zombies long ago. Wang Qiushui frowned and asked, is this water really drinkable? No. Is this water purifier really useful? He poured water directly into the water purifier. We'll know whether it works or not later. Although the system is a bit tricky at ordinary times, he believes that it will not cheat him in this kind of thing. After pouring the water, he closed the lid and pressed the start button on the water purifier. Then, a red light came on the water purifier, and the water inside began to spin wildly, as if it was stirred by the drum of a washing machine. At the same time, you can see that there are traces of black matter separated from the water and condensed in the center. After 1 minute, the red light turned green, and the water stopped directly. It should be purified. He put the bucket under the faucet, and a stream of clear water automatically flowed out until there was no water in the water purifier. Wang Qiushui leaned over to look at the water in the bucket. It was indeed very clear, but she was still skeptical about whether it could be drunk. He directly took a cup, filled it with some water, and drank it down with a gulp. After finishing, he also uttered an R of praise. This water is so sweet, it can really be compared with mountain spring water. Wang Qiushui looked at him like this, and no longer hesitated. He drank a sip like him, and then nodded desperately. It tastes so good, much better than the mineral water sold outside. At this time, he remembered the black substance he had just seen, so he opened the lid of the water purifier, and a much stronger rotten smell came out. Wang Qiushui, who could still hold it in just now, couldn't hold it in anymore, and he retched directly, and asked while retching, why is this smell so strong? You know, the 2 of them have killed a lot of zombies, and they are considered to be immune to the rotten smell after a long time of training. Who would have thought that they couldn't stand it after smelling it? He shook his head and was about to put his hand in. After thinking about it, he went to the next room to get a plastic bag to cover his hand and then put it in. After groping around at the bottom of the water purifier for a while, he finally pulled out a piece of black stuff. The rancid smell was coming from it. It seems that the rancid smell in the water is due to this thing. After being stirred by the water purifier just now, I don't know what happened. Instead, it merged into a solid, but it was too small. When Wang Qiushui saw the thing, he didn't know what he thought of. Then he smelled a stronger rancid smell and quickly hid aside to retch. He didn't feel well either, but he still observed it carefully. This black object is a thin piece, pure black, without any impurities, and there are some small pores on it. If it wasn't so smelly, it would look like the seaweed we often eat. After Wang Qiushui felt a little better, he said, what is this thing? Why does it smell so bad? He shook his head. It should be separated from the water. I don't know what it is. Wang Qiushui's face changed. The water was stirred in it for so long. Didn't this stuff get stirred in? We were both drinking so vigorously just now. Ugh. He said helplessly. That's a water purifier, not a washing machine. Besides, this thing is obviously separated from the water, not dissolved in the water. Besides, we both drank the water. If there is really a problem, there should be a reaction now. Wang Qiushui's face looked a little better. Then just throw this thing away. He thought for a while. This thing is probably not easy to deal with. Wang Qiushui was puzzled. Why? He held the black object to the sunlight, but found that, although it was very thin, the sunlight could not penetrate it. He sighed. Think about it. Those ordinary zombies are so keen on the corpses of high-level zombies that they even don't let go of the black liquid, which means that there is something they need in it. The black liquid does have a rotten smell, but it is far less strong than this piece. So, I guess this thing is more attractive. Wang Qiushui's face changed instantly. If you say so, doesn't it mean that the zombies on the high-speed rail may be attracted by this black object? He shook his head. I don't know. From what it seems now, it is possible. In fact, if the smell of this thing can drift farther, it may attract zombies from other places. Moreover, we don't know if those zombies will change after eating this thing. Wang Qiushui frowned. Then we have got a hot potato this time. He suddenly looked at Wang Qiushui. How about you turn into a zombie and eat it? Wang Qiushui said disdainfully. Don't even think about it. I would rather die than eat this thing. At this time, the system suddenly popped up. Host, do you want to know what this thing is? He nodded. Of course I do. You know. System, please pay 2 experience points as the inspection fee. He was speechless. This broken system only knows how to take advantage of others' misfortunes. I'm afraid it knew about this thing a long time ago, and even watched the show for a long time, and only ran out now. However, books have their own golden house. Books have their own beautiful women. The ancients did not deceive me. Knowledge can really be exchanged for money. He had no choice but to say, deduct it, as long as you tell me what this thing is. System, ding, deduct 2 experience points. This black object is separated from sewage and is extremely useful. He was stunned for a moment. Is it over? System, it's over. He said angrily. System, come on, stick your head over here. I won't give you a buff today. I have to stuff this thing into your mouth. Deduct me 2 experience points and tell me a piece of nonsense. I know the first half of the sentence, and the last 4 words are extremely useful. Thank you very much for reminding me. Chapter 73 Strange Black Object. When the system heard it, it quickly said, well, it's not that I don't want to tell you, it's that your level is not high enough. He snorted coldly. Low level? Then return my experience points, and you can tell me when you have enough. The system said again. Actually, I didn't finish what I said just now. I only said half of it, and now I will tell you everything I can say. He responded coldly. Then you can tell me. The system then said, this black object is very useful, and you will know it later. As for now, I can tell you how to put it away, so that other zombies will not find it and attract them. He nodded. Then you can tell me. In this way, it is not too bad. At least he knows how to deal with this hot potato. After all, he will continue to purify the water next, which means that there will be a lot of black objects. The system said directly. The mall has just added an item that can be used to store this black object. The host can go and have a look if he needs it. Goodbye. Then there was no sound. It seems that the system has slipped away. He sighed. System, it's a pity that you don't become a salesperson. With your business ability, one thing after another, no one can handle it. However, although he knew it was a trap, he had to jump into it. After all, his life was at stake. He didn't want to attract the high-speed rail zombie because of this thing. Judging from the situation yesterday, let alone whether he could beat it, it would be good to have the courage to resist. Clicking on the mall, there was indeed a new item at the end, a transparent glass box. He clicked on the glass box, and the following introduction came out. Glass box, specially designed by the master, made of special grade glass, anti-fall and anti-hit, and will not be easily destroyed. Any object entering it will be isolated from the outside world, and it requires 2 experience points to buy it. He touched his chin, and it was another 2 experience points. The things sold by this system are getting more and more expensive. Even if he is rich, he can't afford such a squandering. However, he gritted his teeth and chose to buy it. The next second, there was a glass box in his hand, which was quite heavy to hold. He opened the box and threw the black object directly into it. As expected, the stench was not so strong. After a while, the room returned to its original state, and there was almost no stench. At this time, Wang Qiushui came in from outside. She couldn't stand it just now, so she simply ran outside. As soon as she came in, she asked, "You didn't eat that thing? I feel that the smell is suddenly gone." He shook his head. "I'm not stupid. Besides, that thing is so smelly that even dogs won't eat it." Wang Qiushui saw the box in his hand. "Where did you get such a beautiful glass box? Is the black thing inside the box what it was just now?" He nodded. "Yes, I picked up a box from the ground and put the black object in it. Who knew that once it was put in, the smell seemed to be isolated?" Wang Qiushui said but didn't ask any more questions. He opened another bucket of water, poured it into the water purifier, and pressed the switch. Wang Qiushui's face changed slightly. "When I think of the smelly black object being refined from this water, I feel like I can't drink this water anymore." He sighed. "Our current situation is pretty good. I saw Bear Grylls survive in the wilderness before, and he even drank urine. Besides, you said that the black objects were all refined out, which just shows that the water is clean. You drank it before, didn't you smell any bad smell?" Wang Qiushui nodded. "That's true." Soon, the water was purified again, and it was still directly put into the bucket. Similarly, a small piece of black object was left in the water purifier. Wang Qiushui had experience, and when he saw that he was going to lift the lid, he ran out quickly. He shook his head, held his breath, and opened the lid, then took out the black object and put it in the glass box. As a result, as soon as this black object was thrown in, it actually merged with the original one. No, to be precise, it should be fused. He watched the 2 black objects merge into one, although the size did not change much, but at least it was a little thicker than the original. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he wouldn't have believed that there were actually 2 pieces inside. Wang Qiushui waited outside for a while and didn't smell any bad smell, so she pushed the door open again. As a result, when she came in, she saw Wending holding the box and examining it. She looked at the water purifier again and didn't see anything inside, so she couldn't help asking, "Is the water very clean this time, so there are no black objects?" He pointed to the glass box. "It's all inside." Wang Qiushui leaned over and looked. "Isn't it just one piece inside?" He nodded. "Yes, they melted into one piece by themselves. I can't figure it out." Wang Qiushui said directly, "Forget it if you can't figure it out. You will know it in the future, so let's get the water done first." He thought about it, and it made sense, so he started to purify the water again. He didn't stop until he purified 2 buckets of water, just 1 bucket for each person. And the water purifier was thrown directly to the windowsill. The sunlight can shine in through the glass of the windowsill, and it can also charge the water purifier. The 2 of them each carried a bucket of water and walked up, but Wang Qiushui's bucket was much smaller. After all, she was not very strong. When he walked up to the rest platform of the stairs, he stopped and took 2 emergency lights. Wang Qiushui was puzzled. This light should not be used. This kind of emergency light is equipped with batteries and plugs. It is usually powered by the power of the plug to illuminate and charge the battery. When the power is off, the battery is used to power the light. However, the doomsday has passed for so long, and they have not seen the light on. It is estimated that the electricity stored in the battery has been used up. Therefore, Wang Qiushui did not understand what the use of this light was. He just smiled and said, "You will know when you go back." Back in Wang Qiushui's room, he bargained with the system and spent 40 experience points to transform the 2 emergency lights into solar powered ones. There was no way he couldn't do the work of modifying the line, and now he couldn't find anything to modify the light. Of course, the most important thing is that the things produced by the system are of good quality. They can be used as long as they are exposed to the sun. Where can you find such a good product? When Wang Qiushui learned that the 2 lamps could be used at night after being charged during the day, he jumped up with joy. As a modern person, life without lamps is really hard. With lamps, there is light. Chapter 74. Ordinary life is true. Purifying sewage and renovating lighting lamps took them a whole morning. He was cooking, while Wang Qiushui was watering potatoes and sweet potatoes. Looking at the tender shoots growing from them, I finally feel a little bit of spring. He smiled and said, I hope they grow up quickly, especially the sweet potatoes. I haven't eaten green vegetables for a long time. Wang Qiushui looked at him. How can you do such lovely leaves? Think about it, how much hardship they have gone through, how much fertilizer they have absorbed, and how many days of hard work I have put in to irrigate them before they grow, he said without turning his head. Since you can't do it, then you can eat something else. Wang Qiushui snorted. Of course not, I will not only eat it, but also eat more. After all, it takes 1,000 days to raise an army and you sit for a moment. Only in this way can I justify my hard work. He put the dishes on a plate and handed it to Wang Qiushui. Take these first, I'll serve the rice, and we can eat. Wang Qiushui went out with a plate. Then, the two began to eat. Wang Qiushui asked while eating, so are we going to kill zombies this afternoon? He picked up a piece of food with chopsticks. We have cleared all the zombies around here. Although there are factories a little further away, I'm not familiar with the situation inside, and I don't know what kind of monsters will be raised in those factories. So, if we want to kill zombies, we have to go downstairs. Wang Qiushui took a mouthful of rice. We can also go to the apartment building. Anyway, there are ordinary zombies inside, which can be easily dealt with. At that time, I only need to kill 2 more, and I can upgrade. I really want to see what changes will happen after the upgrade. He smiled. No wonder you kept asking me if we were going to kill zombies today. It turns out it's because of this. Wang Qiushui took a bite of the sizzling bacon. That's right, I'm just a little bit away from upgrading. My obsessive compulsive disorder is about to break out. He thought for a while. Let's keep the zombies in the apartment building for now. In order to kill so many zombies, I have to break in specially. It's too troublesome and a waste of energy. However, if we want to go downstairs, it will take a lot of time to go back and forth. So, let's take a look after dinner. Wang Qiushui nodded, didn't ask any more questions, and concentrated on eating. After finishing the meal, the two came to the first floor. Wang Qiushui then asked, then what are your plans? He thought for a while. Further down is a residential area. Although it is not a closed area, there are quite a few tenants in it. I wonder if some monsters will be raised there. Not far down the residential area is a crossroads. There are many fast food restaurants around it. We can go there and take a look. Wang Qiushui said at this time, but it will take a lot of time to get there. He nodded. Well, if you walk normally, it will take a few minutes. Even if you run, you won't be much faster, not to mention you have to go back and forth. Wang Qiushui frowned. In that case, there will definitely not be enough time. If you fall down on the road due to exhaustion, it will be tantamount to suicide. At this time, the system popped up again. Host, do you need a bicycle? It is sold in the mall. You can take a look if you need it. He waved his hand. I don't want it. I have plenty of bicycles. The system said again. What about electric cars? He said unhappily. What's the use of electric cars? They are out of power now. Electric cars without power are not as good as bicycles. At least bicycles are lighter. The system smiled and said, this is a solar-powered electric car. He was about to answer, but it would be different with solar power. The system suddenly said, I forgot that the host doesn't have much experience points now and can't afford it at all. Sorry for bothering you. He twitched his lips and then looked at his remaining 21 experience points. He didn't expect that even in the end of the world, he would still be a poor man who couldn't afford a car, and he couldn't even afford an electric car. He adjusted his mood and looked at Wang Qiushui beside him. It's not enough time to walk. We can ride a bike there. Wang Qiushui was stunned for a moment. Ride a bike? He nodded. There are a lot of bicycles outside the door. We can ride a bike there. Anyway, we only need to kill 2 zombies, and we can fight quickly and come back after killing them. Wang Qiushui said embarrassedly at this time, but I can't ride a bike. He waved his hand. It's okay, I can. Anyway, I will control your body at that time. Wang Qiushui said, okay then. Then, the two opened the door and walked out, picking a relatively new bicycle. Then, he swung the hammer of the earth and smashed it several times before the bike lock was broken. Then, Wang Qiushui transformed and sat on the bicycle. However, as soon as he sat on it, he immediately felt something was wrong and quickly cancelled his transformation. Wang Qiushui woke up immediately and asked as soon as he opened his eyes, have I upgraded? He shook his head, we haven't set off yet. Wang Qiushui found that he was sitting on a bicycle, so he asked, why did you cancel your transformation before you set off? He said embarrassedly, well, I found that you are not very suitable for riding a bicycle. It was only after Wang Qiushui sat on it that he realized it. Although Wang Qiushui changed into another look for safety reasons, it was not appropriate to wear a skirt after all. Especially when the wind blew over, wouldn't the skirt be completely lifted up? Wang Qiushui's face also turned a little red, and she quickly said, wait a minute. Then she ran upstairs. After a while, she came down, still wearing the dark skirt, which was used to save her life. So she naturally couldn't change it. But she put on a pair of trousers inside, so there was no need to worry. The two met, still a little awkward. However, Wang Qiushui still said, it should be fine now. He nodded and let Wang Qiushui sit on the bicycle. At this time, he suddenly laughed out loud. Wang Qiushui looked at him dissatisfiedly, do I look ugly like this? Are you laughing at me? He waved his hands repeatedly. No, I don't know if you have seen an emoticon package on which there is an Ultraman riding a bicycle and it says plainness is the truth next to it. I just imagined that you ride a bicycle, holding the handlebars with one hand and swinging the hammer of the earth with the other hand. Then go out for a stroll and come back, walking past zombies one by one, which is much cooler than that emoticon package. This is the real plainness is the truth. Wang Qiushui sighed. Yes, plainness is the truth. Now I miss the plain days in the past. He walked up and patted Wang Qiushui on the shoulder. Don't worry, there will be such a day. Wang Qiushui nodded, then closed her eyes and moved closer with her red lips slightly opened. Chapter 75, Speed Racing Party. After the transformation, Wang Qiushui set off on a bicycle and walked down the road. After getting on it, fortunately, this place is relatively remote, and the zombies did not appear during working hours, so there were not many cars blocking the road. However, at some crossroads, you can still see a lot of cars parked crookedly, blocking most of the road. The car door was wide open, but there was no one inside. It was unknown whether they had escaped or had been eaten by zombies. The zombies in the previous section had been cleared by them, so there was nothing to say. Going down, when passing the community, Wang Qiushui looked inside. The whole community was dead silent, and it seemed that there were no living people. The security guard who turned into a zombie could not get out of the security booth, but just stood there stupidly. There were a few zombies wandering near the door, but after seeing Wang Qiushui's red eyes, they not only did not pounce on her, but retreated instead. After all, she didn't know the situation in the community, so she didn't choose to go in. Continuing down, there was a series of shops. However, the doors of those fast food restaurants were wide open, and the inside was in a mess. It seemed that they had been looted. However, her main purpose this time was not the fast food restaurants, but the zombies. Fortunately, only the restaurants were looted, and the zombies were not killed. After all, not everyone can transform like Wang Qiushui, and can go up and fight the zombies directly. You know, in the end of the world, let alone whether you have the courage to fight the zombies, you will be infected. The fact that it is difficult to find medicine to treat trauma is enough to make many people lose their lives. At worst, they may have to have amputations. Wang Qiushui rode his bicycle directly up the steps and stopped in front of a store. The zombies wandering outside the store looked over, and after looking at Wang Qiushui, they wandered around again. Wang Qiushui swung the hammer of the earth and rushed over. There were just 4 zombies here, so he could get rid of them all at once. The zombies looked at Wang Qiushui rushing over, still confused. However, the natural level suppression made them retreat slightly, and their bodies trembled unconsciously. Wang Qiushui jumped up suddenly and smashed the nearest zombie's head directly. With a bang, his head was smashed into pieces. After landing, she swung the hammer horizontally and smashed the zombie out, hitting it directly against the wall, and its head broke into pieces with a snap. After killing so many zombies, and going through so many battles, she now knows how to kill these ordinary zombies as quickly as possible. The remaining zombies were a little confused at this time. Their lives here were too peaceful, and they had never experienced such killings. At the same time, they couldn't help but look at the dead companion, which was too tempting. Wang Qiushui was worried that they would run away out of fear, and it would take some effort to kill them at that time. Now seeing their stupid appearance, she naturally wouldn't be polite and rushed up and smashed them all, killing them all. After the killing, the system also sent a prompt sound. However, Wending didn't have the mind to watch now and quickly controlled Wang Qiushui to ride the bicycle back. The time for transformation is running out. If it is delayed any longer, something bad will happen. After riding on the bicycle, Wang Qiushui rushed back directly, pedaling very fast. When she returned to the vicinity of the seafood restaurant, there was a sudden sound of collision and cheering behind her, as well as the sound of a car engine. She couldn't help but look back. If there were zombies that could drive cars, it would be a big trouble. Because if they could even drive cars, it means that the zombies either recovered their memories or figured it out by groping. Either way, it's not good. When the zombies can even use guns, it will be really impossible to fight. This sight made her feel relieved, and at the same time she silently cursed in her heart. Where did this idiot come from? Because the people driving the car were not zombies, but several young people. The car was a military vehicle, so it could withstand collisions. They drove all the way here, and obviously they would not avoid the cars parked on the road, and they couldn't avoid them, so they just crashed into them. Every collision would make a loud collision sound. At the same time, they would shout excitedly. The front of the car was slightly dented, and it seemed that it had hit many cars along the way. At the same time, a lot of black liquid could be seen in front of the car, and some fragments were hanging on it, which probably meant that it had hit many zombies. Such a loud noise naturally caused a commotion among the zombies, trapped in the houses on both sides, but they still couldn't get out. As for the back of the car, many zombies followed, but because they couldn't keep up with the speed, they were left far behind. I don't know if they were too brave or just wanted to pursue excitement, but there was no fear on their faces. Wang Qiushui rode to the side of the road silently and sped up. The zombies following behind her alone could take her life once they finished transforming. However, the bicycle was obviously not as fast as the car, so the car caught up quickly. The people in the car naturally saw Wang Qiushui riding a bicycle. They just said, "Look, that zombie is swinging a hammer and riding a bicycle. How do you know it's a zombie? Maybe it's a human. And the figure looks good. If it's a human, can it survive? There are zombies everywhere. Not to mention swinging a hammer. Even if it has a Gatling gun, it can't survive. However, I have seen many zombies with weapons, so it's not strange to swing a hammer. But this is the first time I have seen a zombie that can ride a bicycle. Just hit it and destroy the car. If it's a human, take it back. If it's a zombie, take it back too. If it's a human, it's good. She's wearing a plain long skirt and looks very pure. Maybe it's the back killer? It's the same with the lights off." Then there was a loud laugh. Wang Qiushui frowned and then heard the roar of an engine behind him, obviously crashing into it. At this time, there was still some distance to the building, but as long as he ran faster, it shouldn't be a big problem. She looked back and saw that the car was almost behind her, but the target was a bicycle, so they probably wanted to capture her alive. The people on the car saw her red eyes and turned the steering wheel directly, adjusting the angle to aim at her legs. It seemed that they were going to hit her and then take her back. At the same time, their faces were ferocious. Hit her, hit her. Although I don't know why they want to capture a zombie, I think it won't be a good thing. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.